Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 61. I am your host, back in the basement to talk some wrestling with my co-host and son, Jackson. Say hello, Jack.
Why they got sticker everything on Lego sets?
That is not a hello.
Hi.
There you go. So, another week of school and life and wrestling has passed. Anything exciting
wrestling.
to talk about?
Yeah, they killed off NXT.
Well, we'll get to that. But yes, that was our main focus of this show, was our excitement or whatever to talk about this week's NXT 2.0. So that will probably be a pretty interesting discussion when we get there. But what else happened in anything non-wrestling wise you want to discuss this week in our banter section? It was a pretty boring week for me. Pretty busy. Work's been really busy, working under a weird COVID system, but I won't complain too much because I got a job, so that's that. But just kind of battling through each week at this point. Looking forward to getting down here to talk some wrestling from the week. I don't know. I put up episode 521 of ROH. My weekly review of ROH is up there if anyone wants to check that out. Our contact information, I guess I can put out there. We'd love to hear from anybody. fnswrestling@gmail.com or fns_wrestling_podcast on Instagram, or you can leave a comment on YouTube if you would like. I will promise to get back to everybody that contacts us at this point.
You can personally hold them to that as
You can, because it's not very many people, or any most weeks, but
it's pretty easy to keep track.
It is. The odd time, there's a few people that let us know they're listening and they like what we're doing. If you'd like to be one of those, please feel free. It's always nice to hear
Join
that
an exclusive club of people who contact us.
that some real people listen to us, so that is always nice to hear.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to chat, or we can get right into wrestling this week? Nothing
no.
exciting happened to you at school, or I don't know, you update us on Marvel stuff you've been watching, or Lego?
I watched Spider-Man this morning because why not?
Which one?
Current one.
Right.
The good one.
The one I watched. It was okay. Of all the superhero movies I've tried to watch for your sake, that one wasn't too bad, I thought.
You should watch the Captain America ones. Those ones are the best.
Maybe someday I'll try, but
Those are the best.
I can almost guarantee I won't like it,
The
but that's
best. But I guess I'm trying to book Pete Dunne as champion in Universe because
in your universe?
Because NXT's dumb and I'm not.
Don't spoil it, but maybe NXT dropped the ball in your opinion, so you're going to pick it up for them.
They murdered the ball.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't have much to say. There's nothing really I wanted to talk about.
It's been just a week.
Kind of a meh week. So let's move into talking about wrestling. And the first thing will be to look at some news and rumors. So I always start with ratings here, and we've got... I was very interested to see what the live revamped first edition of WWE NXT 2.0 would get.
Stop calling it that.
So that's what it's going to be called. They trademarked the name, I told you. So get ready to hear a lot of that.
No.
They drew 770,000 viewers on USA Network this week, which is up 28.12%. They earned a 0.21 in that key 18 to 49 demographic, which is up a whopping 50% from the previous week. So obviously WWE is going to be happy with that increase, because I mean, in my own mind, I've set that 700,000 as the threshold of whether it's like decent ratings or not, and that might be arbitrary, but just as somebody who looks at the ratings every week, that seems like a reasonable goal for them. But for me, I'll be interested to see in the ratings going forward, right? Because the ratings for this week could easily be motivated by curiosity. It's like they're rebooting the show, new logo, new space, new talent. So there was probably a lot of curiosity involved in that rating.
Right.
So I think the subsequent, like what we're doing, right? We're going to give it a few more weeks to try. So I think those ratings will be interesting.
Maybe one.
Because those ratings more indicate how people have responded to the changes, right? So this was like how many people tuned in to see the changes. Going forward, it's going to be how many people are sticking around after these changes. And even we're thinking of not being one of those people, not to spoil our upcoming review, but it was a slog this week, we'll just say.
It sucked.
To contrast, Wednesday's live AEW Dynamite reportedly drew 1.175 million viewers on TNT, so down just under 11%. They earned a 0.44 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was down just over 15%. So ratings slipped a bit, but Dynamite ranked number 1 on the cable top 150 for the 4th week in a row in the key demo. And for the 2nd week in a row, they did beat Raw in that main 18 to 49 demographic.
Yeah, the key demo.
That's right. What do you have for us?
Taylor Russ returned.
Yes, he did.
And he won.
He did.
And he beat Jake Atlas.
in a weird match, right? We kind of
Jake Atlas doo-doo.
No, he's not though. There's something weird happened, and now Jake Atlas is like out of wrestling, right? Remember we talked about it and how like something weird happened in that match. It seemed like suddenly there was some confusion or an injury, or he was like out of it or something, almost like he took a blow to the head, and then like quickly the match was over, and now it seems like he is taking an extensive break or retiring from wrestling.
I'm okay with that.
Interesting. I don't know. I thought he had potential. It's just NXT never used him properly.
Yeah.
So I had lots of Fallout, the most recent Dark Side of the Ring episode, right, which is centered around the flight from hell back in WWE. I forget what year it was, but
plane ride from hell. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, the plane ride from hell.
I think that would be kind of an interesting one. I was saying.
Yeah, we could check it out. Vice posted the entire episode on YouTube as well. I mean, we have access to it anyways. But so some of the fallout from it, I haven't seen the episode yet, but I did watch some clips this morning, just sort of getting my news in order. So Ric Flair has some issues here. He has some car insurance commercials that I see peppered through Ring of Honor when I watch it every week. That's the only place I see them. So those commercials have been pulled and paused for the time being. And Tommy Dreamer, in reaction to his comments defending Ric Flair's like behavior, so he's now been suspended indefinitely from Impact Wrestling as a result of that. As well, the Storytime Ric Flair version on Peacock, formerly the WWE Network, has also been removed. So like I said, I haven't seen the full episode, but I did watch the clips specifically of Dreamer, sort of what I said was defending Flair's monstrous behavior, and it was pretty disgusting. He basically is trying to pass off sexual assault as a joke that everybody thought was funny, and he's kind of like, well, that's how the times were back then. So just stuff that I can't believe what I think is a fairly intelligent man said, like on the record, basically, you know what I mean? So he's been suspended indefinitely. So I don't know. We'll probably check out that episode. I do think it's kind of interesting.
That's good because I don't want Flair in AEW, so this doesn't bode well for that.
And I honestly was like pretty sure he was coming, right? Like I'm basically like they're clearing out Andrade's managers to make room for Flair, but now that's a definite, maybe not so much.
It's
now,
a
right?
roadblock at least.
Right.
So after Rampage last night, Sammy Guevara seems to be positioned as Miro's next challenger.
Nice.
And I think one that actually has a chance. I mean, I would like to see Miro retain still, but I think Guevara has a good chance.
They could make me believe he has a chance for sure.
He gets good crowd reactions. Like, even when he came out to do his picture-in-picture signs, the crowd pops pretty good. And he's good, so I think he would actually fit as a TNT champion very well.
And the contrast of styles there could be sweet, too,
I think he'd be a really good TNT champion. So.
He would, for sure.
And I think he has a good chance.
I think he'll get a run at some point. I don't know if it's yet, because Miro's got a pretty good run going. But yeah, that'll be a cool match, and I like the contrast.
Probably the most, like, believable challenger to date.
I think so, too. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, Samoa Joe's WWE NXT role is not to be a full-time wrestler. As we sort of saw, he just magically has disappeared, right? Meltzer said in the latest Observer newsletter that the direct word from WWE on Joe is that he's hired primarily for a non-wrestling role in NXT.
Bananas.
So as we'll get to during the 2.0 NXT relaunch, they barely mentioned Joe and just said like he's unable to defend, so the title's been vacated. No real reason given and no real mention of him for the rest of those 2 hours, right? I've heard lots of speculation, and you said you have too, that there is no injury, that it's basically whatever their plan is. I don't know in it. I don't understand. It seems kind of odd, but that he's basically out of active wrestling for the time being, and it looks like the plan going forward is to not really, I mean, he may still wrestle occasionally, but looks like it's a non-wrestling role, which is too bad, because I think unless it's health reasons, then obviously he needs to, but he's definitely got some gas left in the tank for wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
But
so that kind of sucks, especially because Pete Dunne's not champion. So
and
it really sucks.
And it's just one more established good talent gone from NXT, basically, right? So that hurts at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Next, so the draft is returning this year as they feel the need to do it yearly. I feel like they should do it like every other year. If they're dead set on like doing it multiple times, I would like for like a good like couple years of like they're on their brands and like
how about a couple weeks, couple months even.
Well, it's because, like, I don't know, and then maybe, like, that Survivor Series on the year where there is no draft, maybe there is some merit to,
Maybe.
like, because you've been on the show for so much longer, right? But,
Right.
so the draft is returning. It'll take place on the October 1st episode of SmackDown and continue on for a second night on the October 4th episode of Raw. I kind of want to check it out just because it's something
different
to watch.
Have you ever heard the phrase shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic before? No?
No.
So you know the Titanic?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're just moving stuff around to keep yourself
Is your
busy when
drink
the
water?
ship's when
Can I
the
ask
ship
some?
is going down anyways. So that's kind of what it
Okay.
feels like, right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
they're
fair.
trying to do stuff because nothing's really
and
working.
So to couple this, Drew McIntyre is expected to head to SmackDown, which that would actually
I
be a
have heard
change
that.
because he hasn't like actually really been on SmackDown since his return. Like he was only on SmackDown for a bit. Remember when he was affiliated with Shane?
Hopefully, and when
they had
he
like
goes,
the wild card rule.
they can get rid of this whole sword and whatever gimmick, and he can start with something a little bit fresh, or go back to something that was more interesting than
I
this.
wouldn't mind him beating Roman.
Just the
That
whole,
might give him his moment all over again, right?
He's just the stupid baby face that WWE main roster does that
Right.
drives me crazy. They
They
struggle with
just
baby
can't book
faces.
a good one.
They cannot.
I mean, Big E, hopefully.
Yes.
But like.
Really happy to see him getting a run. And
Oh
I
yeah,
hope
that
they just,
that's not in the news, but yeah, if you didn't know already, Big E cashed in. He's WWE champion now.
which is
That's
awesome.
all. That's cool. He was on SmackDown too, which I think is kind of weird because I think he should be on Raw now because he has their
You
Raw
would think.
title.
Yeah.
But I guess like you could say, oh, he's still technically on SmackDown.
Yeah. And
So-
if you listen to this show, you know we've been waiting for them to pull the trigger on Big E. I don't know
But
what's
there's
taking
no
them
way
so
they
long.
load
He's awesome.
SmackDown like that. Whether it's better or not, like you can't just load one show. You know what I'm saying?
Well, especially it's not in my news, but I saw something where one of the networks is basically saying they want it to be a more like even distribution of how things are going, right? Like if whichever channel, I don't even remember, has Raw, feels like
USA.
SmackDown's the stacked roster and getting all the prime storylines.
Although Raw's definitely got more of a women's division because like on SmackDown, all I can think of is Belair, Lynch, Liv Morgan, Carmella,
Yeah.
Naomi, who hasn't wrestled in a while, and Zelina Vega. Like that's
Yeah,
weak.
not
and I
great.
guess Natalia and Tamina, but they're mostly like cross-brand defending the tag titles.
Right.
Oh, I guess Shotzi Blackheart, but who cares?
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Next one I have is apparently there's a good reason why so many NXT contracts are expiring this year, it seems. So Fightful was reporting
I
that
also saw.
several of the top NXT talent were offered deals to re-sign in the fall of 2019, right?
Yeah.
Which would have extended them past this point, but they declined. Mostly it says because the amount being offered was, quote, nowhere near what Raw and SmackDown talent were being offered at the same time. So one of those reported that was offered contracts around then was Cole, who's obviously already gone, and then apparently Johnny Gargano was offered as well, but he did not take one. So his contract will expire on December 3rd of this year. So that's not too far away. So
I don't know.
we may have another top tier free agent floating out there.
How would you feel about him in AEW? I'm open to that. He's
I would
awesome.
love some of the matches, and I love him, but again, it's really, really bloated roster at this point. So if they can find room for him and use him well, he's the type of talent that, yes,
They could
his
back
best
him
years are
as
still
that
there.
mega babyface he is meant to be.
They for sure could.
Next, the New Day versus the Bloodline set for next week's Raw. Quite a match. Kind of interests me.
But I agree with what you were saying about
I
it to me.
guarantee it's the main event, so I'm not gonna watch it because I don't need to sit through.
We never get that far.
Raw.
Yeah.
We don't get that far, and I wouldn't want to get that far because I guess we could watch. I'm probably not gonna watch it, and so I don't like this because people have been saying, "Oh, New Day should win the tag titles to set up," because they always have to do the champion versus champion matches,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And so this would be cool because it'd be like you're kind of merging two matches.
Right.
You'd have the world champs and the tag champs battling in the same match, and I think that would be really cool.
But it
And-
feels a bigger money feud, as you were saying, than
Right, so
just a
they're-
short build and put it on
They're
TV.
kind of giving away a money match, and then
I think
also I was just talking about this with Big E, but I don't think Roman and the Usos they shouldn't be on Raw because Big E, you can make the excuse that I guess he's still on SmackDown even though he cashed in on the Raw title. Like
Yep.
he's still, I guess, technically a SmackDown superstar. Reigns has been on SmackDown for the past year. He's just showing up on Raw randomly. Like he literally hasn't been on Raw in at least like over a year.
And that's why all these drafts and things don't really mean much to me, because it's just people go where they go regardless.
Well, they haven't done that in a while, but this is just so random. And like, I don't know. I feel like they should save this for a Survivor Series.
I agree. It feels like if it were booked properly, that's a money match, a money feud that they're sort of giving away quickly.
I saw someone say that they should like have a title unification match and then have a cross-banded world title. And I think that makes sense because, like, it's the championship of the world, I guess, technically speaking. So I guess you should only have one, really.
You would think.
So
bit much to have two.
And
but
I don't think anyone really likes the Universal title that much. And
they're not going to get rid of one, I don't think.
I don't think they will, but it's not a bad idea.
So Impact Wrestling began another round of tapings at Skyway Studios in Nashville on Friday. Only notable because... a few people may be appearing. It says the taping will include the Knockouts Knockdown special event as well. And then a few new names that I found were VSK, who's appeared on AEW and actually briefly in Impact before. I thought he looked pretty good in Impact. And then I'm excited by Masha Slamovich is the name. She was in the NWA Empower Gauntlet match that I watched, and I thought she looked awesome. So I think she's a pretty cool addition if they do in fact have her. And then there's also rumors of Buddy Murphy coming.
Yeah,
but that was less confirmed.
No, I want him in AEW.
Possibly appearing on Victory Road tonight, even, which is one of their.
No, they don't deserve him.
I think it's one of their $10 pay-per-views. I'm not sure if it's one of the big ones or not. I feel like it's not.
Just get it then. It's like $10.
But I would love to see new talent on Impact as a guy watching and talking about Impact every week. I
would
like
to see
that.
Murphy in AEW.
Yep. Anything else?
He doesn't need to go Impact.
He'll get lost in AEW, man. He needs to go somewhere smaller.
He's so good.
He's very
good.
Not
possibly waste him.
He's not. He's very, very good in ring. He's not very, very good in other areas. So to me, he's
neither is Andrade.
He's to more of an Impact guy. Andrade's improving a ton. His promos.
And my last one is just some Rampage Grand Slam editions. We have Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay.
Yep.
Yay. Mm-hmm. Big 8-man tag, Private Party and the Butcher and Blade versus Lucha Bros and Proud and Powerful. Babyface team, very stacked. I feel like this could be starting like a quick Lucha Bros Proud and Powerful match.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be very nice.
I'm here for that.
And I told you about this, Mox and Kingston versus Arch and Suzuki, which we anticipated, but it will be a lights out match, which I think that'll be their first tag lights out match.
Yeah, and those, I mean, if the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker one is any indication,
even the Omega Mox one I think was
fantastic.
Good. So these matches have a good track record.
Nice. That wraps up your news?
Yes.
Me too. So let's transition into talking about this thing we've been looking forward to talking about for a few days.
2.0.
And that is the first ever episode of NXT 2.0. Okay, so you ready to talk about this show? You told me you've been waiting a couple days to talk about this. So this is the reboot. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's NXT 2.0, so it certainly seems like that might be appropriate.
I hate that they like actually keep calling it that. Like it's just like
constantly.
Subtlety just literally died.
New logo, new colors, new facility, new lots of stuff.
Same place, but
new sort of production style. Apparently Mr. Dunn was producing this. You can, if you couldn't tell, I mean there's so many.
No, it definitely looked different. Just the atmosphere is brighter.
Way brighter. Yeah.
Like the ringside area is definitely bigger.
Yep.
And like there's just like this clear wall in front of the fans, like no actual barricade, which I don't really like because I like the actual barricades.
I don't miss the plexiglass, that's for sure.
Yeah, but like I like having the actual barricades there because it's just like they get used for stuff. It just makes sense. Like it's a reason. Like this, basically, it has the same use, but it doesn't really it's not that interesting.
I thought. What did you think of like the screens and Trons and stuff?
So,
that's usually something
the Tron,
you notice.
So the entrance stage layout, I really don't like. So they got like this round bit, kind of like almost from the front looks like a cylinder.
Right.
It's really just jarring. It just like the shape just doesn't work for me. And then just the Trons itself, like just like all the bright colors and the
so
white.
So bright, man.
It's an assault on your eyes in every sense of the word.
And it's a big contrast, right? The previous place was really. It belongs on the kids'
channel. It does not fit a wrestling show.
Funny you say that, because you know what it reminds me of? And you'll get this reference because I know they mentioned it on Goldberg's, which is a show that we love and families should check out, or people should just check out because it's really funny.
If you have Crave, go check it out.
This reminded me of like the really, really bright, colorful kids studio shows like Double Dare, you know?
Yes. Yeah, something like that. I was thinking like that, the Nickelodeon, like the Kids Awards or whatever, where they have the slime and whatnot.
Yep.
You know, like
that's what it
and
feels
all the fluorescent
like.
lights and colors. It just doesn't look right. This feels like what they would have done in 2019. Remember when NXT went first onto the network?
Right.
Because now this feels more main roster-esque. It feels too big for NXT.
It feels very like junior main roster.
Yeah, they have like an
varsity
NXT logo
roster
behind the fans if you're looking at the hard cam view. It's atrocious.
This this show, man, we're gonna talk about it, but
I'm gonna say right now I probably have nothing good to say about the show.
I mean, let's get into it and see what we have to say. So we open with a quick recap of Samoa Joe sort of vacating the NXT title, and then it's like they never mention him or that again, basically, right? It's like, here's the quick reset, title's vacated, set up for a 4-way match for the vacant championship. So they get brief promos from each of the participants here. I didn't get detailed notes. Not that any of them really said too much. Ciampa basically doesn't care which NXT this is, referring to the constant 2.0 talk, because he'd still be the champion. Pete Dunne basically says it's time for the Bruiserweight champion.
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly talks about this being a goal of his for the past 16 years, so this has kind of been a long time in the making. And then LA Knight says that he knows Samoa Joe is scared of him, and that the other three are now stuck in the same spot, implying the other three competitors are afraid of him. And then someone named our first new introduction, and it felt like there was half a dozen or 8 or 9 new people tonight.
Yeah, none of them were good.
So we get Braun Breaker is his name.
I think his name is Bronson Reichsteiner. Right. He was renamed Rechsteiner, and then this is his name now. It's awful.
I don't understand that choice exactly. You would think they'd like the name recognition, but I guess
they're
not.
obsessed with second generation stars. So.
But you're going to see a lot of this guy, right? He seems like he's going to be one of the foci of this show, it looks like, kind of going forward for the next little bit at least. So he comes up to LA Knight, says he wants a chance to prove himself, and Knight, being the super confident guy that he is, for some reason agrees to take on this young upstart in the opening match of the same show where he's going to be in the main event for a championship. So I guess it makes sense from Knight's point of view. He is the super cocky heel,
$1 million
right?
megastar.
But anyway, so that's what we're going to get.
I didn't love it. I don't care.
I didn't mind the little promos by everybody. The Braun Breaker, like, this is the kind of stuff we have to expect. I didn't hate it, but I don't know who this guy is. But I guess hopefully we'll learn, and hopefully I'll like him.
Doubt it.
We then go straight into that match. Basically, it is LA Knight versus Braun Breaker. I don't even like saying the name. It sounds ridiculous. I don't like
it either. His theme and just entrance is generic, and just the Tron is really not. I don't like the entrance stage. It's really not good.
And he's wearing a singlet, was it?
Yeah, it's so sad because his singlet absolutely matches the new NXT look, and that is just so
all
disappointing.
Of it together is, like, I don't hate the logo. I don't love it either. I like the original stuff. I hate it because
that's not what NXT is supposed to be.
But everything together, right? Like the logo and the colors and the brightness and the venue seems really, really tiny to me. That might not be a bad thing in the end, but when it's tiny plus super bright, I'm not sure it works for me. But anyways.
It doesn't. It even looks bigger though. It's weird.
I thought it looked pretty small, but I guess the other one you never really saw much of the crowd, right? It was so dark, I found. Anyways, so I will say that Braun Breaker is built like a tank, right? Kind of like a combination of his dad and his uncle, I would say, a little bit. Quick start by Knight with strikes, but Breaker then explodes out of the corner with the clothesline. Breaker lifts and slams Knight twice, and sort of Knight's retreating off to the corner right away already. He's getting dominated by this kid. We get a telegraphed back body by Breaker, countered with a kick and a clothesline from Knight. Neck breaker by Knight. At this point, I made a note that, like, Knight, not to be too inside baseball, but that Knight is calling the match, and you can sort of hear him doing it and see him.
Oh, really? I didn't notice.
Yeah, there's a points where there's, like...
I mean, I didn't really want
their heads are close together, and clearly Knight is having a little conversation, right? Which, I mean, that has to happen. And it's funny because when both guys have short hair, then it's really noticeable, right? The long hair of wrestlers hides a ton of conversations. But anyways,
Yeah.
belly to belly by Breaker, cravat knee by Knight, but Breaker picks him up, gorilla presses him, and transitions it into a power slam. I think Goldberg used to do stuff like this. And he picks up the very surprising win in a pretty quick match, right?
Well, yeah.
What'd you think of it? Go ahead. I'll drink coffee.
So this is meh at best. Breaker looked like an average. He looked average at best. Didn't really impress me a ton. He just had basic moves, and he came across as a generic hype, I guess, Power Man.
I guess
and
so.
Another thing is his name is absolute garbage.
With 2 Ks, by the way.
Yep, because they had to trademark it. Knight didn't do anything important either. I feel like this is setting in motion the stupid decision of giving him the title. Either way, NXT 2.0 looks awful,
like it too.
And it has begun with a mediocre start, and I hate the inclusion of 2.0 in the name. They should just call it NXT, just kind of subtly, like...
Oh, this is like Sledgehammer. Like, it's the new... Like,
well,
it's so
the whole
not subtle.
look is like Sledgehammer. It's
yes,
just
it is.
gross.
Yeah, I think this is going to be indicative of the new NXT, and that's what they're showing us right out of the gate. We're going to get a green youngster who might turn out to be great and might be half decent now, getting a clean win over like an established veteran, right? And not even like we're big LA Knight fans, right? We don't think he's amazing or anything.
I don't think either of these guys are amazing.
Breaker has a look they're going to like, and he did hit a couple cool looking moves, but he definitely needs more seasoning in other areas. Like he's new to this, right? And that's what this is for now. This is clearly a developmental federation. It's no longer a super indie, and unfortunately that is not cool, but what are you going to do? Right. Obviously they have big plans for Breaker. They want to bill him as the first guy to ever win a match in the 2.0 era, right? Like right away you can just tell this is something they're going to refer to, especially if it is like a junior main roster show. It does. This felt like a really WWE main roster match. Like it wasn't bad.
Even then, like I feel like those are longer and
they are. But I'm saying
better.
Everything is a mini version of main roster. So it wasn't bad, but it sure wasn't a hot opener. And again, I'm not an LA Knight fan, but I don't really like him losing here. Why do we believe he has a chance at the championship? Why does Breaker not take his spot in the match? Like, so I'm
Why would LA Knight accept this?
I came into this trying to be optimistic, but definitely skeptical, and I'm getting a little more nervous.
The show, they will beat the optimism out of you until there's none left.
I started to get more nervous even after this. Not that this match was bad; it's just not what I want in my NXT at all. And I feel like this is what we're gonna get, right? Anyways, Breaker is then shown being congratulated backstage by other young talent that I really don't recognize. And then we sort of hear Imperium's music, and they're shown standing at the top of the ramp.
What I really liked is, so there's that NXT logo with the LED Tron in it, like above the fans, like if in the hard cam view.
Right.
And so when Imperium's Trons are on, it makes it all white, and it actually doesn't look totally atrocious.
Nice.
I really like that. And then, of course, their entrance doesn't last the whole show, so.
No, it does not. Imperium are taking on Josh Briggs and something Jensen. I don't even think I caught the first name. Did you?
Brooks Jensen.
Brooks Jensen. Apparently he's like 20 or something. He's super young, probably related to somebody.
Bad.
So they actually get an inset promo as before this starts, where they talk about looking for fights and some other stuff to kind of show how tough they are, I guess.
I don't know, like country something, like hillbilly.
Yeah, it reminds me of
something like
the
that.
West Texas Rednecks in WCW. They were the big Rap is Crap, and they were feuding with oh my goodness, I can't remember. Anyways, that's what they remind me of.
I'm more so Jensen than Briggs. I feel like they're almost like beer brawlers or something, you know.
So early on, Eichner catches Jensen's foot and pulls him towards him into a nice clothesline. We get a power slam by Jensen, and he tags out. I feel like there's a lot of body slams on this show.
Especially from Jensen.
Double team shoulder tackle.
I remember him at least hitting one 3 times.
By Briggs and Jensen. Briggs slams, then hits a splash to Bartel. Running penalty kick by Bartel. Then the tandem drop kick to an upside down Briggs that they do that looks pretty cool. Briggs reverses and back suplexes, then tags out. There you go. 2 body slams and a gut buster by Jensen.
Yeah, he's like
body slam man.
I remember
straight out of the 80s.
He did a bunch. Right, it's never the most impactful move. I find it works best, A, Michinoku driver where you can get a good pin.
Yep.
Or 2, setting up another move.
Yes. Bartel pulls Briggs off the apron and they crash into the steps, but we really don't get to see it. I don't think we got the best camera angle on that one. Eichner then with a sweet double underhook suplex off the top rope, like an avalanche
Very nice.
double underhook to Jensen to pick up the win. What did you think of the match?
I'm glad Imperium won. That's good.
Me too. I agree.
But what was the point of this? I was really struggling to figure that out. So they randomly just introduced a new tag team, with one guy who hasn't been around a lot and a new guy. They have the new guy lose, which that's confusing, and the match was out of nowhere and not very good. Pretty short again, which a recurring theme.
You're gonna hear that.
Another just mediocre and short match, that's not what I want. NXT 2.0 is off to a horrible start. Even NXT's recent TV matches that we haven't loved,
right?
I've tolerated better than this. It's just bad.
We are now being presented a show where we're being asked to watch athletes learn to become wrestlers,
right?
And I don't know if that's what I want to do.
In less than 5 minutes, or in less than 10 minutes, it's not.
And we're, just to be clear, we are going to give at least a couple more weeks to NXT,
probably
because
one more
show,
week.
Who knows? But WWE's not a company that cares what the feedback is, right? Like, if everybody feels like us, they don't have a history of
they
going,
will probably run this for a while in spite of the feedback.
Well, I don't even think they really, I don't know. I don't feel like they anyways, doesn't matter. But this was another match with youngsters.
Well, literally when the fans get people over, 90% of the time, if your name's not Daniel Bryan, you will get buried in the ground because the fans like you.
Yes, we're going to be told who we're going to like, basically. We don't get to choose.
We like Roman Reigns and John Cena.
So, more youngsters, although maybe Briggs isn't a youngster because he's been around a while, but Jensen
he's
certainly
teaming
is.
with one.
So again, youngsters against veterans, and I thought it was just okay, and it does definitely feel like developmental right now, and I fear the technical matches between amazing wrestlers that we would get when it was quote unquote the super indie NXT, right? That those are going to be kind of few and far between.
Those days are long gone.
If they kill the Takeover brand, man, because to me that's one of the best. That's one of the most sacred for me. Because I always tell people,
I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
NXT takeovers are the best thing in wrestling that I watch, consistently. So if that gets taken away from me, I'm gonna be I'm annoyed.
Pretty sure I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure takeovers will die as well.
So there was nothing wrong with this match, but I didn't think it was very entertaining. It felt like a tag team version of the opener, right? Kind of.
Which I didn't like either. So.
We then get a Hit Row promo to sort of cheer us up a little bit. So this week, the others are sort of focusing their attention on putting over B-Fab because she's going to make her in-ring debut this week.
I was going to say she's going to wrestle, but that's generous.
That's a separate issue. So they talk about her beauty, that she'll give us something to be big mad about.
I was going to say, what does beauty having to do with wrestling? That's probably 90% of Vince's criteria.
They go on that she's the baddest chick, just because their words, not mine. Not just because of how she looks. She's trained with the best. Really?
Well, I guess she might have trained with Swerve.
Evidence, please.
She might have trained with Swerve.
The time for talking is over, and they get up and leave. What did you think? I never do the best job of summarizing Hit Row.
Yeah.
They're too quick, and they speak in hip language that I don't always understand. Because I am not hip. But anyways, what'd you think of this?
I thought it was a solid promo from them. It wasn't even one of their best promos, but it's my favorite thing so far. It's not a high bar, and I guess that's my point, and that's really depressing.
I thought this was cool, too. I'm interested to see B-Fab at this point in action. I have no idea what to expect because I haven't seen or really heard anything, but I thought another solid segment from this group, right? They're just cool, and they continue to be. I just wish they would kind of move on to something else, but that's beside the point. So we do get the match, the debut of in-ring of B-Fab with her Hit Row people with her versus Katrina Cortez, who is the luchadora, right? The mask. She wears a mask.
I believe she is, and
We've seen her before.
She was in a Mae Young. I know
I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
I don't know which one, but she's been around for a while. She was in the Mae Young, and then Jobber for the rest of her.
She did not impress me either in this.
She's got. No offense, she doesn't have the best physique per se, so
but that's fine. I don't care about
right,
that.
No, I'm saying that's what
I thought her selling was not good when you're basically
what you're supposed to do
in a squash match.
That's your only job,
right? But anyways, we get a leg sweep by B-Fab, then some strikes and kicks, and then they and this is going to be something they do too, right? They cut away to picture in picture, that clearly the in-ring stuff is no longer what's important, and they're telling us that by interjecting a promo into it or whatever. They're showing
Which
Pete Dunne.
that happened a couple times, and I really
did.
didn't like it.
Me either, because it's basically saying we really don't think the in-ring's that important, and to me it is. So that's a disconnect for me there. So it's Pete Dunne warming up anyways.
Which, like, why... No offense to Pete Dunne, but
that's not worth breaking into even this match for.
It's not even like
this match.
Right. I don't even think you need to insert on the show because it's just literally him warming up. So like, I don't think you need that for anyone. It's not just him, but like if it was anyone.
So Cortez does get a flurry, then she gets booted, sort of as she's trying to hop off the second rope. Neckbreaker by B-Fab for the win. Don't love that as a finisher, and it didn't look amazing anyways.
Rick Rude, but like that was like
his looked great, and
90s.
he set it up and whatnot.
And like that's like decades ago.
Yeah, B-Fab cuts a promo in ring afterwards, and Elektra Lopez and Legado, of course, interrupt. She says B-Fab didn't learn her lesson the first time, but they can do it again, and she won't need a pipe to hit her with this time. B-Fab agrees and says that they can do it right now. And then it kind of just ends, right? It just sort of, we cut away from it. What did you think of this?
Short squash, but what B-Fab did wasn't great. Some of it looked really weird, like her corner stomps. Like some of it just looked really weird. Also, her ring attire was not good. Even the finishing move was lame. It was just like a stalling neckbreaker, which like that's even worse because like she should have gotten out of it.
It's like a signature or a transitional. It's not a finisher for me, right?
Not a great. I wouldn't even call it a signature. Not a great first showing, if I'm being honest. The aftermath was fine. I really hate this show so far. The look of it, coupled with nothing good or worth my time so far. And Elektra Lopez has been a jobber so far, and B-Fab sucks so far. So I have zero interest.
Sucks in ring,
match.
Really cool everywhere else.
Yeah,
B-Fab,
but they're going to have a match, which that's where she sucks.
This obviously I did not think B-Fab looked good here. I didn't think her opponent looked good here. B-Fab really didn't do much.
So if you're judging this by a squash match standard, it failed on all accounts.
Yes, nobody looks good.
Right, like didn't sell good. B-Fab's moves were bad. Like
so I'm
nothing.
Disappointed, but I'm not surprised exactly because I know she's not very experienced, right? But again, that's what this show's about. And a Lopez B-Fab match is not, as you're saying, super interesting. She's
probably had the most time of Hit Row to prepare, though. She's probably been at the PC.
It's probably one of those things where
she's the last to debut.
You can't ever really prepare for like being on live TV in front of a crowd, probably, right? Like nerves are a factor for your first few matches, at least I'm sure. They clearly sort of added Lopez to facilitate this feud among the women within the group, and I don't really want to see it at this point.
I think I like B-Fab as the valet and so coupled with the fact that I know I keep saying it, but Elektra Lopez has been a jobber up till now.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think I don't know about you, I didn't think Legado needed any additions.
I don't mind it on paper.
Yeah, but then after this, like it's clearly just to facilitate, like you said, a women's feud.
And a War Games. First intergender War Games.
I don't really want. I would take like if they picked interim members rather than the women. Yeah, that would be nice. And just based on B-Fab's performance, like I don't like she should have just stayed valet, and Elektra Lopez should not be in this.
It's a weird thing for me because I really like both of these groups, but I don't really like them together, and it sucks even worse because this looks like one of our only options to get really good wrestling matches when it comes down to Swerve, especially, right? I don't think that Top Dollar is amazing, but I think that obviously Swerve and Escobar and the other two Legado are really good. And I don't know how much good wrestling we're going to get. And Ashanti's not bad. He's gotten a lot better.
I
think Dolla's limited, but he's good in what he
does.
I
was interested in this because it was going to be Swerve versus Escobar. It's been like months, and that has not happened.
I know.
So I don't even know why I care anymore, because my patience is run thin. Like
I agree.
They have failed to give me any
But we
match.
like both groups.
Even like the tag matches were fine, but that's not even what I'm here for. I'm here for Swerve and Escobar.
Exactly.
And that hasn't happened.
So then we go to the first little hint of this. We see Dexter Loomis's groomsman.
Ugh.
are backstage getting ready for the event. They're discussing who will win the main
And they're
event
all
tonight.
dressed like Loomis.
Yes, they are in the like tight shirt and the gloves and the jeans, right? So they're discussing who's going to win the main event and win the championships. Championship singular. Grimes will take Kyle O'Reilly, but Johnny is sort of distracted and doesn't really know or want to make a decision. Then Austin Theory shows up. He has returned from wherever he is, says he couldn't miss
Nice
the
to see
wedding
him.
and that you can't have a wedding without a priest, and Damian Priest comes in. So is this going to be something that happens? Like, is this this really feels like main roster junior, right? They explain to Theory, because he's still playing the meathead, right, that Damian Priest isn't a real priest. Damian says he's here for the party, asks about the open bar, and then Grimes sort of lets us know that he's the one paying for everything. And then Theory and Johnny go, like they're about to do the way high five, but Johnny kind of refuses, but it's because he wants a hug instead. What did you think of this?
It was fine actually. Based on the other crap we got so far, like in comparison, this looks better. In all honesty, it's really good to see Theory back. I like him now, especially in ring, and I think he's done a pretty good job acting in this whole storyline.
Me
so
too.
It's good to see him back. I kind of forgot he's gone, but now that he is back, I'm happy to see him. Right?
I wasn't sure he was coming back, right? Because he dabbled in main roster a bit,
Right.
I think, right? So I wasn't sure
Yeah.
we'd see him. But
that might be better for him.
again,
Sorry, I thought the Priest cameo was kind of cool because I thought it was kind of amusing.
Yep,
and
it-
I like him.
it worked because Theory is so believable as that guy.
Exactly.
Right? Otherwise, it would have seemed lame to me.
And it's cool to see Priest. He does have NXT roots.
Yep, I'm going to say it a lot, and you're going to get sick of it. This kind of felt main roster as well.
Yep.
I didn't hate it, and I agree. I think it's nice to see Theory back. It's just too bad that it's this wedding, which is hopefully the blow off of this whole thing, right? I'm hoping, but yeah. So
I'm
I don't know.
skeptical.
It wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. So Carmelo Hayes, with Trick Williams, who I guess we're supposed to know, but I don't know who he is. Nobody knows who he is.
I don't know. I even looked on his Instagram. He has one picture. It's like a photo shoot picture. So I have no idea who he is.
So he comes to
I
the
already tried to
ring
Google
with
it.
Carmelo Hayes, and Hayes has his contract with him that he won from the tournament, right? That he can use for a championship shot. So he does get a mellow chant as he enters, I noted. He talks about winning the tournament and having the juice now. He'll never get caught off guard, and he realizes that this is a numbers game.
Football guy. Of course he is.
There you go. This is a numbers game, so he called his boy Trick Williams, who said he was about it, I think is what he was saying. As long as Hayes has the contract, he goes on to say, Trick goes where he goes and eats what he eats. So I'm kind of on board with this so far, right? He's realized you can't go it alone at NXT, so he brings
I'm not
in
on board with him.
backup. So far, I'm okay. I'm with him so far. So Trick then gets to speak, and not to spoil anything, I don't think he does a very good job. But anyways,
And based on what wrestling moves he did, I don't think he does a good job of that either.
he says he's proud of Carmelo Hayes. Okay, so he's there to back him up. He's his muscle. Cool. But now he has a bone to pick with him. So are we turning on him already? Like, what is going on? So he goes on to say when Melo shoots, he doesn't miss, but he has issues with Hayes being so humble, because I guess that's not the Hayes he knows. And Hayes agrees.
Knows him from what? Like,
Hayes
tell
agrees
me.
that he's been humble. Would you describe Carmelo Hayes as humble in his time in NXT?
Nope.
So I'm confused again. But Hayes agrees and basically says he won't hold back now. He's guaranteed a championship shot. He is the golden child and the chosen one. And when he shoots, he doesn't miss. Okay, so I'm starting to get confused, but it's fine, I guess. Then they go to leave.
It's all fine.
But Duke Hudson, who's on his way in for his match, sort of walks by them on the ramp. He tells Hayes, you can hear him say, like just over the mics that are there, that he should have won the tournament, and he kind of gives him a shove on the way by. You can also hear Trick Williams then say to Hayes, like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This kind of stuff needs to end today. So they attack Hudson, or
For
he
no
does. Williams
reason.
does first. Hayes joins in and hits like a springboard sling blade to take Hudson out. So
Or it's like a close. And Trick Williams did this really bad boot move. It was awful.
and so, okay, can help me out with this. Did Carmelo Hayes just turn heel? Yes, correct.
No.
No?
No, because
He turned heel and then attacked a heel.
no, that's the cutoff. Because he attacked a heel, and then like
Ugh.
the celebration after it feels like face. Like, because I feel like if he was heels, they would just like and walk away, you know. But like, they kind of like, you know, like I don't know, and
I don't know,
they weren't
man.
being booed. So.
No, I not when he first came out, but I don't really remember after that. But it was almost like, here's my new muscle. We're already teasing him turning on me, but it's not. But now we're both heels, but now we're attacking a heel. So
I don't think
I
it
don't
was
know,
a heel
man.
turn. I think it was ruthless aggression.
Maybe. What did you think about this? My brain hurts.
This was not great and very random and also weird. I have no clue who Trick Williams is. Of course he's a former athlete, because why wouldn't he be?
That's all there is.
But his name sucks, because who names their child Trick? Like, no one does that. No real person is named Trick. And
Might be short for Patrick. No, I don't know.
No, but then you would call him Pat. No one
Not
calls
necessarily.
themselves Trick.
Anyways, go ahead. I don't mean to derail you.
That'd be like, so Andy, right from The Office, Andrew, you shorten it to Andy.
Drew.
You don't, Drew, like.
He is Drew. They just don't honor it. He might be Drew to this day if they would have not.
I don't know, but
anyways, go ahead.
The beatdown and the move Trick did was awful. Like, he just looked stupid.
He was pretty bad on all fronts.
He was. He really was. This is it, I guess.
And we've liked Carmelo a lot to this point.
Oh yeah,
so
and they have just dragged him down.
I just want to understand, man.
That's part of it. I mean, he sucks, but understanding would be a step, right?
Yes.
It's a small step, but hey. The beatdown on Hudson was odd, as well as it felt a little heel, but their attack, I don't think it was, but it did. You do pick up those feelings.
I do.
This has all been so random so far and so bad. I guess they've done a good job of making this NXT feel completely different, and that, my friends, is what we call a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, so obviously I don't understand what's going on. I get that he brought backup. And I wouldn't call Hayes' behavior and promos humble, right? So I don't get how this is the trigger for him to change his personality. But anyways, and then Hudson's a heel too, so that adds a bit of confusion to me. So the whole thing's unclear. And Hayes was fine on the mic. I don't think he was quite as good as he has been in the past, but Williams was not, I don't think. And they were given a lot of time here. That's something neither of us have addressed, right? This was not short, and it was not good. So anyways, obviously not a fan.
Speaking of not good, oh boy, let's talk about this.
JC Jane and Gigi Dolan discuss Mandy Rose,
it's
and
weird.
she's...
Sorry, they're like crouching down like she's a child. Like, they're like, she's like sitting there, right? So obviously she's facing them.
Mandy's is back to us with a hood up, right?
And she's like, she's sitting there, and they're like, "Hey, Mandy, you look so nice." Well, she's just sitting there. Like, I imagine her just stone faced, and they're like, "Oh, you looks this the real Mandy."
That's right. This is the best version of you. Is basically what they're saying.
I can confirm that is inaccurate.
I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
It's inaccurate.
We then cut away to wedding preparations and Beth sort of gushing about it briefly. We then get a tag team match with Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, who are now like the veterans of the... I don't know.
That's so depressing.
Taking on Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. So
I hate their entrance.
Carter takes down Dolan early with a Thez press. Catanzaro tags in, holds Dolan in place for Carter's dropkick. Casey hits Gigi with a kick and then applies an octopus hold. And then we cut away. Well, not cut away. We get the split screen with Pete Dunne and Holland. So they're shown just attacking Kyle O'Reilly backstage, which I understand ahead of their match tonight. But then someone else comes in. Did we ever figure that out and like chases them out? You do know who it is? Is it a spoiler though?
Von Wagner.
It was Von Wagner?
Yeah.
Because I didn't make that connection. I just knew at the time I didn't know who it was, and I was taking notes, so I didn't get a clear view of it. But that makes sense because, well, obviously. But I didn't know it was
at the time. I was really mad because they did not explain it. Well, that even makes
less sense then. Because why would he? Anyways, why would he get rewarded? Anyways,
because he's a good person,
folks. I wanted to save this until the end because I thought it was clever. This is PG level, PG rated Vince Russo booking in like WCW 1999 because it's all a blur. There's a million things going on. There's camera cuts all over the place. Nothing makes sense. Nothing matters either because
it's PG modern Russo.
It's interesting stuff.
Yes, indeed.
So that happened with Dunn and O'Reilly what's his face that I forget already.
Von
He's
Wagner.
related to one of the Beverly Brothers, I want to say. I think
his name is just it's gross. They spelled Vaughn wrong.
Sorry, I digress. Carter and Jane are in the ring at this point. Carter hits Jane with a scorpion kick. Catanzaro's about to go for a top rope dive, but Mandy Rose runs out and shoves Catanzaro off the rope. Again.
Whoa. It was a mystery woman, okay? She was wearing a hood.
Sorry.
We did not see her.
Right.
We definitely did not
My
get
bad.
a glimpse of her face.
That's right.
And we had no idea who it was until the hood was pulled off.
So
I definitely didn't see her face.
This feels very Russo as well. The heels beat down the baby faces, leave them lying. Mandy Rose takes off her hoodie to show us her face is fine. Her nose isn't injured.
Yeah, that's weird.
And her hair is dark. Saray runs out to help the baby faces clear the heels from the ring. So Mandy Rose has dark hair. This is her new thing.
Right,
I thought she looked fine. I didn't mind that part of it.
It looks worse, for sure. And so I'm
for sure. I don't mind it.
Remember when Sasha Banks turned heel? Remember you complained because she
I do complain.
had the pink hair, but then she took it off and it was a wig.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was her blue hair. This feels the same thing to me.
I hated that. You're right.
This feels like the same thing. Like, who freaking cares if she dyes her hair a different color?
She's a different kind of heel now because the only thing Vince knows, right, is blonde heel is a certain thing, and then brunette heel, she can do different things.
Right.
Those are the two categories.
I think it looks worse because I think like her Wade was like, she looks more beautiful than ever. I'm like, no. And so I guess we'll talk about this like separately.
Just briefly. I only had like one sentence
another
on this one.
match on a rapidly deteriorating show, and this time we get a special treat. Oh boy, a DQ finish.
Yep.
Yippee! Is it my birthday already?
A 1 minute DQ match with run-ins and beatdowns. Amazing.
This was lame again and served no purpose. The finish was dumb. Mandy's new look is literally just changing her hair color. The most pointless change possible. She also doesn't have the mask anymore, so continuity died along with NXT. They also showed the video in picture with the thingy, and at the time I was like, who the hell is this? Like, because they did not explain it at all. Obviously we'll get that after. Why wouldn't they just show this after the match so commentary can explain who that was? Like, and I just don't like cutting away from the match. I mean, yes, it's not important, nothing on the show was, but like, still. And I'm not a fan of split screen videos while matches going. They already did it earlier as well.
Yep. Yeah, I got nothing to say. A 1 minute DQ with stuff happening, and it's going to lead to more stuff anyways.
What you mean to say is you have nothing to say because I did such a good.
That's right. You covered it all.
I was so good.
So after a commercial break that was right after that, we find out that this is now a 6-woman match. It's the classic. We're going to restart it.
Like
so
all of a sudden.
I think they briefly mentioned that Regal agreed to it, but that was basically it.
Yeah, it's the same teams, just now Saray and yay, Mandy Rose are in.
Which again, take a drink every time I say it. It feels very main roster to me. But anyways,
I'm
so
gonna
now
do that now. That's our drinking game.
We get Saray, Casey Catanzaro, Kaden Carter versus Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, and Mandy Rose.
My first note right off the bat was why.
We get a heel kick by Saray. She clears the ring before hitting a missile drop kick to Dolan. Catanzaro and Carter hit double team offense for a near fall, but the heels take control after a distraction. I'm pretty sure we get some piped in dueling chants because it's really, really bright. You can see everybody now, right?
Yeah,
so...
if you noticed it on the previous versions
right, when
of
it's
NXT,
pitch black.
You'll definitely notice it now, especially like when you can see all the fans.
Right. So anyways, Dolan controls Catanzaro for a while, and the heels isolate her in their corner. We get a body slam and body scissors by Mandy Rose. Crossbody caught into a fall-away slam by Rose that I thought looked pretty good. Jane's in with a suplex and a senton. Carter gets a hot tag, leads to a drop kick to Rose and that drop kick splash combo she does in the corner to two separate people.
Super convoluted setup.
Right. Things break down. Saray drop kicks Jane and faces off with Mandy Rose finally, I think for the first time here near the end. We get a sit-out wheelbarrow slam by Rose that was okay too. Jane distracts Carter and Rose hits her jumping high knee for the win. What did you think of this?
I thought her knee sucked.
I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it.
She didn't get all of it.
It's what Rohit knocked Chelsea Green out with. But Rohit did it better.
He probably actually hit it.
Yeah.
We basically just got this match, except this time they felt the need to add in Mandy Rose because somehow that would make things better. I guess Saray was also in, but she can't carry a match with 5 other people, and especially when one of them's Mandy Rose. The finish was lame too, as Mandy just hit one with one of her mediocre running pump knees, which didn't look good. Like, I've seen it multiple times, and it was bad. I mean, what do you expect? She's awful, and I watch Kenny Omega every week, so... this match is no better than the prior tag, except now they wasted double the time.
Yep, I actually like this a little more than you. I thought the heels looked decent here, and there's some potential. Again, maybe it's compared to everything else, right? Jane looked okay, and Mandy Rose honestly looked better in this match than she has in some lately. And again, maybe it's by comparison to the rest of the show so far, but I thought this was actually okay. And at least maybe it's also just because I'm like, this existed before this NXT, you know what I mean? So I'm a little more open to it. This was the
only thing left.
To me, it's the first match of the night that had any real pace to it, right? Like they actually worked a decent pace and it wasn't super short. But anyways, we then get Candice LeRae and the bridesmaids. They're shown getting Indy Hartwell ready for her wedding. Candice insults one of the bridesmaids' hat. I think she was wearing like a toque, as we call it in Canada, or a beanie to people elsewhere.
Toque.
And that's all I really remember. So
I don't even remember that.
Amazing. William Regal and Mackenzie Mitchell are backstage.
Whoa, I didn't get to see my opinion on the thing, okay? My opinion was bad.
Okay, I thought so.
That's it.
William Regal announces that due to the attack by Holland and Dunn, Kyle O'Reilly is out of the main event. He's not medically cleared. Fine, that makes sense.
No, it doesn't. Because literally LA Knight competed a full-on match.
Well, I know, but if he's not cleared, he's not cleared.
Like,
I'll give them... Gotta give them something tonight.
No.
Regal says it'll still be a four-way. Here's the part that now that I understand fully makes no sense. The new entrant is Von Wagner.
And I wrote his name as Vauga.
Oh, he's Cal Bloom, so Wayne Bloom's son.
Yeah, so I wrote his first name as Vaughan, like Vaughn in Canada, and of course, stupid me thinking they would spell it right.
Well, that's not right. I know there's a few other Vaughns like that, I think.
No, but like, spell it good.
So you attack a guy and injure him.
No, he saved the guy.
He saved them, and then you've never had a match, so you get thrown into the
title match.
Okay, so
yes.
that makes total sense.
I think this is stupid, and now it is Pete Dunne or nothing, and if Dunne does not win, I will quit.
Yeah, I did not like this. Somebody I've literally never heard of added to a title match away. Like, what's going on?
He's the most boring-looking dude.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, okay, he's...
Swerve, brother, swerve back the other way. Swerve, swerve.
He's a little less boring-looking than the Creed brothers. I'll give him some credit.
So it's like... It's just the frantic pace of this, right? Hey, the champion had to vacate the title, but don't worry, we got a four-man. But wait, one of them's going to have a match in the opener. What's going on? Right. Wait, another one's getting attacked and he's out of the match, and now he's replaced by a guy you've never heard of. Like, what is going on?
Along with the main roster drinking, I have a new game to play. What sport did this guy used to play? Any guesses?
Feetball.
Yeah, it's always... As you will see in the show, it's always
amateur wrestler football.
Yes, that's it.
That is all.
Maybe the odd basketball or something.
I don't know. That'd be tricky. There
tricky?
is actually one woman and like former WNBAer, I think. That's
tricky.
So, anyways, we're getting Ridge Holland facing Drake Maverick
right, because if there's one thing that can fix this show for me, it's a Ridge Holland match.
In an Iron Man match. Just kidding. It was like 40 seconds.
So bad. I can't even.
Holland dominates, no sells some Drake strikes, hits the Northern Grit finisher in less than 2 minutes.
Normally I wouldn't like no selling, but like it's Drake Maverick, he's small.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Waller checks on Drake on the floor as Holland is just in the ring staring at them.
Listening to his awful theme.
It was a squash, plain and simple. Those are my thoughts. Do you have any?
Another lame squash. Holland looks meh again. This did nothing for anyone at all. And why are they wasting my time so much? Oh, wait. They rebrand NXT? Yeah, I thought so.
I think Holland's fine, and I think for what we're going to get, you might be like clinging to Ridge Holland as your...
I refuse to cling to
We'll
Ridge
see.
Holland. I would rather cling to Braun Breaker than Ridge Holland.
No way. Mackenzie Mitchell then interviews Tommaso Ciampa, someone I recognize. That's refreshing. Talks to him about Kyle O'Reilly getting taken out of the match.
Someone good you recognize, all right? You recognize Ridge Holland.
I do. Ciampa says things are different and anything can happen in NXT 2.0. Like, this is the other thing. It's now clearly you're being heavily scripted with buzzwords, right? Like, anyways.
Which is, again, very main roster. Take a sip.
Ciampa then talks about going after Goldie after spending 908 days waiting, and tonight he gets his redemption. Usual good stuff from him.
I just wrote okay.
Yeah, less intense than usual, right? And the scripted part
I prefer his chair promos.
It's basically like, make sure that you mention 2.0 somewhere in your talking tonight.
Is this NXT... Did we mention this NXT 2.0? Oh, it's NXT 2.0. Like.
So then there's a guy walking down the street, and he has a thick Italian accent. There's Italian music in the background.
Okay.
He talks about being a former amateur wrestler. His name is Tony
Of course he
D'Angelo.
is.
He makes some reference to, I thought was some stereotypical stuff, but I could be wrong. Again, it would be a very main roster. Take a sip, move.
Woo.
What did you think of this introduction
yeah,
to
you
this
gotta take a
character?
sip too. I mean, at least he's an amateur wrestler. If I had to choose between sports and amateur wrestling, I'll take amateur wrestling because that's still wrestling, right?
Agreed. The transition is way faster. They already know holds and suplexes and
right,
stuff.
which I mean, this is sports entertainment, but like, it's still pro wrestling somewhat. So, it's something, right? And even though we just got two introduced last week,
Yeah.
and speaking of,
Yep.
that's what next.
So I did not. I thought like the stereotypes were oozing from. It reminded me of
I hate
Johnny. Not to go WCW again, but Johnny the Bull and Big Vito from '90s WCW. I like reality in my wrestling, and this felt really contrived. So while I'm talking about this next one, if you have time to check it online, I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that this guy Tony D'Angelo has some like alter ego gimmick thing. Like fiendish almost sort of deal. So I don't know. Anyways, so yes, as you were suggesting, I think next we get the Creed brothers.
There's another Tony D'Angelo ice hockey defenseman.
Not him. The Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus Reed.
There they are.
Or sorry, Creed, with Malcolm Bivens, Roderick Strong, Hachiman, and unnamed female wrestler with them, right? That we haven't been introduced to yet, so somebody else new.
Ivy Nile.
They're taking on, yes, we'll meet her shortly. Dan Jarman and Trevor Skelly, I think, is what the names were.
Jobber name generator, ayo.
So the Creeds dominate, obviously, with their power and their amateur ability. Their suplexes, that collider thing they do where they run in their opponents in and slam them.
Sorry, this thing that says Italian-American mobster Tony D'Angelo set to debut on NXT.
Exactly.
That's
Stereotypical, 100%. They at one point they carry the opponent over, right, and force him to tag in the other guy.
I thought that was funny.
It was.
I like that.
Just so that they can continue the beatdown. I like that too. That suplex thing the one guy does into his sliding clothesline, the same finishing combination he used in the previous
it's
match.
Okay, but I would like for them to, one, have something better, and
Have a
two,
tag
have a
team
tag
finisher.
finisher. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Of course.
If they're gonna do solo one, they need something better though.
So they basically win another squash. Malcolm Bivens says the Creed brothers prove they can destroy anything on two legs.
Anything that's a jobber on two legs.
He then introduces the newest member of Diamond Mine, and it is Ivy Nile, the woman that has been accompanying them. So Bivens gets her.
Actually, it was just today.
She has a super cool look, for
she
sure.
Looks pretty cool, yeah.
Gets her to flex because she's pretty jacked.
Petite, yes.
She is, and he says that she hasn't had a carb since 2005, and that Nile was a star of NBC's Titan Games, which I don't know how much of a feather in your cap that is, but anyways.
I'm gonna Google that quick.
That was the rock show that we
Reality
watched.
show, yeah.
With the major obstacle course stuff.
Oh,
We've seen
it. Okay, well, so now we have an American Ninja Warrior and a Titan game.
It's not the same.
No, well, I'm just saying, but now we have both of those. They should totally face off.
Bivens officially welcomes Nile to the team, and Kushida makes his entrance to interrupt, tells Bivens that he talks too much. Bivens challenges Kushida on behalf of Roderick Strong for a cruiserweight title shot, and Kushida looks, I think, like he's accepting this offer, right? What did you think of this business?
Yeah, so I thought it was a fine showing from the Creed brothers again to show they're Angry Monster wrestlers. I did find the forced tag to be pretty funny. I thought that was nice. I definitely showcased Julius more, but I heard he's like backstage, like he's a hard worker guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that they recruited a woman to Diamond Mine because now they have a member for the women's division, which I think that's good for this like fighter faction because you want to like kind of dominate all fronts, so to speak. Also, finally happy to finally get Strong and Kushida next week.
Me too. I thought the Creed brothers looked pretty good again, right? Like of the new crop, these are the guys I'm most interested in for sure. But I think you would agree, like see them in a longer match with better competition, right? Before I make up my mind for sure.
Yeah.
But they look really good, squash and jobbers so far. Bivens' promo was fine. Ivy looks cool, at least. I don't know if she can wrestle or not. In fact, I'd have my doubts, but she's here to develop, so that's fine. Happy to see Kushida Strong match for sure. So Loomis is combing his mustache as he's getting ready for the wedding. And then we get our main event. Nope, because we're putting the wedding on last. But we get our main event match, I guess we could say. So just to clarify, a wrestling wedding is going after a four-way match for
the
your
vacant title.
main championship.
Not even just the main championship, but it's vacant.
Just
too.
to clarify. So it's Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, Von Wagner, and LA Knight.
Right. And I agree. I wrote the fact that the main event is the wedding and not a four-way for the vacant title is absolutely detestable.
I think it kind of tells you all you need to know.
It does. It for sure does.
This is sports entertainment.
Yeah, and this match is where I will get very angry.
And this is where they may lose me, and that sucks. But anyways, they kind of pair off to start. Wagner then clears out Ciampa and Dunne, and then Knight, I thought, got a nice little chance to dominate here and looked pretty good. Right? He's explosive, man. He really is. He doesn't have the most varied, like, grappling and moves. He's not a technician.
I remember liking him in Impact.
Yep.
I remember he was affiliated with.
He was funny.
It's actually funny that he feuded with Grimes because remember they were affiliated with Caleb Conley.
Yep, that's right. Back when we were watching.
Those are the days.
A bit later, Dunn's working on Wagner's arm, and then we basically get the showdown with Ciampa.
Peter likes to do.
That we all want. A clothesline sends Knight to the outside. Another brawl breaks out. Wagner comes in, cleans house again, heading us to a commercial. We're back, and Ciampa is hitting running strikes in the corner. I think was it all three? At least a couple of them. I can't remember. Double clothesline takes down Dunne and Knight. Wagner then blocks the fairy tale ending. Knight hits his BFT sort of finishing move.
Blunt force trauma.
Ciampa hits his Willow's Bell a little later. Ciampa then hits like a running corkscrew dive onto a pile of people, and he's the only one sort of left standing after that. In the ring, we get Dunne snapping Ciampa's fingers, setting up and actually hitting the bitter end, right? Knight tries to steal the pin. Wagner cuts him off with an angle slam for a near fall. Then I thought this looked cool, and the camera angle was cool when Knight like explodes and just jumps up onto the top and hits the superplex to Dunne.
Yeah, it was a nice angle.
Really nice.
I was like, oh, that was pretty nice.
It was nice. Knight looked good in this, I thought. Wagner, which is ironic because he lost the opener too. Anyways, you were there. You heard me talk about it. Wagner then hits a double underhook slam for a 2 on Knight, with Ciampa making the save on that one. Ciampa eventually hits the fairy tale ending, pins LA Knight to become the new NXT champion and his second reign, I think, at this point. What did you think of the match? I know you don't like the outcome, but go ahead. I kind of said this was I didn't think it was time for Dunne.
It was absolutely his time. We'll get to that in a second. I thought it was a decent TV match, but too short to have much substance to it. And, like, there were some good spots. Like, Knight looked pretty good, actually, in this match, which is odd to say. And so none of the matches on the show have been good, and they've all been really short, so you can't really, like, say that any of them were that good.
Yeah.
And Pete Dunne didn't freaking win. Why the hell did Ciampa win? He's already won the title. He's the one who needed it the least. I mean,
told you, man.
I would prefer him over Knight and definitely what's-his-face, but it was meant to be done. It was his time. It was absolutely his time. It was his time when Cross was champion. It was his time when Joe became champion. It would have been his time even if Joe was champion. This worked out perfectly. He could have won the title right here and now.
You don't want him to, because he's going to lose to Rex Steiner.
He re-signed. I don't care. I want him
somebody else in like 2 weeks. This is not the time you want him to win.
Like, he should have won. I'm pretty much done with NXT, and that is not an intended pun.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
So I really liked this match. I thought it was good. It was only like 10 minutes, barely, but which I don't think does this situation justice, but that's a separate issue. The match itself I thought was fun. Lots of action, some cool moves. I thought Wagner looked good. And it helps that he's obviously in with these 3 other guys, right? So
I thought he looked fine. It's weird that
he wasn't asked to do a ton, but he looked okay.
I feel like it's another reason to not show is that LA Knight looked the best out of
he looked good.
A match that also has Ciampa and Pete Dunne in it.
And I think Ciampa's just a safe choice. I really feel like they have something they want to pull the trigger on, and that they were kind of blindsided by Joe's injury, whatever it is. I haven't really heard anyone. It's all just like super speculation at this point. I hope Dunne's first in line, but after seeing the end of the show, I doubt it. Like,
it should be done. It should always be done.
I kind of want Dunne to go back to UK at this point and challenge Dragunov and do stuff there, because that shows. I still find that show kind of interesting.
He wouldn't win the title there, and he's already done that there. And he deserves this, and they are stupid.
I think Gargano's contract's up in a couple months too. I think it's like January or December, so we'll see what that.
I'm so sad because not only did he lose the title, but he re-signed for 3 years,
That's
so
what
now
I mean.
he's
Sorry.
stuck here.
That's what made me think of Gargano,
He's
because Dunn
stuck
just
here
signed.
for 3 years.
Yep.
It's not like he lost the title because he's on his way out to freedom. No, he's stuck here for 3 years. He's stuck in that crab fest for 3 years.
Well, I mean, it's only been a week. We'll see. Maybe it'll get awesome. We get a musical montage airing of the Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis love story that I will not go into detail about because I don't want to. We then get shots of the crew sort of setting up the ring for the wedding, which is, we're told, the first ever for the NXT brand. Out come the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, plus the grizzled young veterans. So we see a couple people guests making their way to the wedding. We then go to a commercial. We come back now, and basically everybody's out and seated for the wedding. And several superstars that we know are in the wedding party as guests. So Lumis, of course, is there staring straight ahead. The music hits. Out comes Indy. She walks down the aisle with Johnny Gargano, who's giving her away. Again, doing the whole father role, I guess. The minister begins the ceremony, but Gargano is really nervous, and obviously they're mic'd up because that's what you would do at a wedding. And his sort of energy is kind of getting in the way of the ceremony. And then he doesn't know where the rings are. Austin Theory, then being the meathead he is, jokes that they're in a wrestling ring. Silly sort of thing. Candice LeRae is annoyed by Johnny's energy and Theory's joking around because obviously this is a wedding. This is not appropriate behavior. Ha ha ha. That's why it's funny. Ikemen Jiro is there in his like trunks and one of his flashy jackets, which made me laugh. He opens it up to reveal that he has the rings in his jacket. Indy is asked to share her vows, and she goes on about how people misunderstand Lumis. They see him as a creep, but she sees him as a cuddly teddy bear.
That's a crappy teddy bear.
She makes reference to him stalking her and things, and like coming into her room uninvited.
Which, is that supposed to be funny?
Like, that's not. I don't know. That was kind of
like
interesting choice
that's
there.
Supposed to be funny?
I don't know. Indy goes on, says she can't wait to spend the rest of their lives together, or with Lumis, sorry, and everyone applauds. Dexter is asked to deliver his vows, and Lumis simply gives Indy a thumbs up because he doesn't speak. The minister is confused, apologizes to Indy, and tries to explain it away as that he's probably just nervous. Lumis grabs the minister, puts him out with the silent submission, and they want Regal to somehow finish the wedding.
No.
And then there's the zombie referee is lurking there.
Of course he's there.
So Beth Phoenix finally gets to live her dream here.
When do you think it can't get worse?
She steps up to the podium, says she had a feeling something like this would happen.
Oh, did she?
So she had the foresight. Last night, she went online and became ordained as a minister and can be the
easy to be a minister then? Like, what? Why isn't everyone just become a minister if you can just do it one night? Like... And does she have the force? Does she like how the
you can become?
She just happen to know.
We call it here. I don't know if it's called that everywhere. Like an efficient, and you can take a little course. I'm sure it's not a day, but yeah, you become like basically you can legally marry people, but probably not in a day. Beth says to cut to the chase, and then because she said chase, Andre Chase stands up and asks if someone called for him. Because that's funny.
It's so funny. Name confusion. Because he wasn't listening to any other words except for Chase.
That's exactly their explanation. He goes to speak, but Odyssey Jones sort of takes him out, and the fans chant for Odyssey Jones.
Because he's there.
Beth calls for the rings because this can't end, and kind of wraps up the ceremony. Indy says, I do, puts the ring on Lumis's finger. Beth starts to go on, but Lumis just stares straight ahead. Beth says, because basically he's not saying I do, right? So she says, well, that must mean he's saying yes. And then Lumis sort of puts his hand over the microphone and finally says, I do.
Oh my God.
And people cheered, I guess, or it was piped in. I don't know. I didn't care to investigate. Beth pronounces them husband and wife and says Lumis may kiss the bride. Indy and Lumis kiss, raise their arms, and Lumis picks up Indy and just stands there with her, and it's over.
Hands.
And you can go ahead and... so, a wrestling wedding that basically went off without a hitch, basically, which is interesting.
That's
but anyways,
even
doesn't mean
worse.
it was good. So go ahead.
This was bad. It was cringy, it was boring, and somehow longer than any match on the show, possibly combined. I don't know, look it up.
Combined, nice.
None of this was funny, none of it was entertaining, and nobody even interrupted. That's what's supposed to happen in a wrestling wedding, okay?
Nobody pulled off a mask to reveal they were someone else.
No one came out of a giant cake.
Right.
Like, wrestling weddings are never supposed to actually get people married. That's not how these work,
Although
okay?
Macho Man and Elizabeth, I think, worked out. Wasn't that a public wedding?
Yeah, but
Gimmicked.
Macho Man doesn't suck.
No, that is for sure true.
This was as bad as I expected, and then some, and a horrible way to end one of my least favorite wrestling shows of all time. And
Ooh.
I've watched the Saudi Arabia
Coming in
pay-per-views.
hot. I thought this was pretty painful. I'm really interested.
It was very painful.
It's been really hard for me because I always say I don't listen to other people talk about stuff until we're done talking about it. So it's been hard for me because I really want to hear. I know there's going to be.
It's been so bad.
I know there's going to be one podcast that's going to basically like it because they're the ones that still get interviews and need to. No, shills is strong. They will be critical sometimes, but
not to a fair
overly because they're not looking to offend anyone that might want to come on their show or give them information or whatever. But anyways, I don't think anything is memorable about this. The only thing I laughed at was when it was the part where does anyone have any reason that these two, and basically like 2/3 of the crowd put their hand up. I thought that was kind of
that was like a slight laugh.
Yeah. So I groaned inside audibly several times. You can confirm this probably.
Yes.
I think you did too.
Oh, I'm almost positive I did.
So this was like a year-long build to this, right? Like this is what bumped a 4-way championship match for this wedding. So NXT has wasted time, my time specifically, and I'm not super happy about it. Someone backstage thought this was good, and even like, fine, you think it's good or funny or cute, they thought it was worthy of the main event on like the relaunch show of your show. So this is like indicative.
They don't even want to like cap off the new show by crowning a new champion. Like, come on.
This is indicative of what they think should be the focus of sports entertainment, and that's my problem. And some people like this, and that's great. If you're a main roster fan, you're probably gonna like NXT better.
I'm sorry, when was NXT ever main roster? Like, what, when they wanted to invade like the main roster? Like...
So the same people that like this segment are the ones in charge of this show every week, so I'm feeling this, we may be doomed. And I try to be optimistic, you know that. But this is 1 week, and I'm going to be, at least I'll say I'll do 2 more weeks for sure.
I will probably only have patience for 1 more, because this is abysmal.
So anyway, sorry. We go back to backstage. We've got new NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa. He's watching the wedding backstage. So Braun Breaker, because he's got to bookend the first show. Again, they have huge plans for him. Clearly, he walks up, congratulates Ciampa on the win. Ciampa, in turn, congratulates Breaker on winning his first match. He offers his hand, and Braun just kind of looks at it. Braun then eventually does shake Ciampa's hand, stares at him, and he's sort of fuming as Ciampa does the same, and the episode goes off the air, sort of foreshadowing these two, like your best, probably literally the best veteran you have, other than maybe Gargano or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're clearly putting him in a promo or a.
So is Braun Breaker win the title right away, or are you giving him a loss right away?
I don't know. Like, it feels like you can't, right? So I
think
you
could. He sucks.
But okay, so go into, without rehashing the whole show again. What are
I'm not going to.
Overall thoughts and grade for this.
F.
Wow.
F. I enjoyed nothing, and Pete Dunne didn't win. The matches were short and not great. The segments were lame and boring. If this is what NXT is, then I don't want it. I don't know if I'm going to watch next week. Probably at least 1 more.
You will.
Because this is the most displeasure I felt watching a wrestling show in a while, and this is one of the worst wrestling shows I've ever seen. It was not enjoyable in the slightest, and the death of one of our favorite shows in recent memory.
Yeah, this show, and I'm not like using this term, this made me sad, this show.
It made me angry, it bored me,
it made me sad.
And it depressed me. I was literally just lying on my
you
bedroom
were,
floor
when I went
after.
upstairs.
I was just
you were starfish position
depressed.
On your floor. This
it is depressing.
If you listen to this show, I've said this before, like, I love NXT. Before Jack would even, when you were still just a main roster guy, I would try to get you to watch this, because I would tell you it's the best hour of wrestling I watch. Their pay-per-views are the coolest thing in wrestling. Like, I just love the show, and I've watched it through all of its sort of stages, and it's always been really, really good. And this is the exact opposite of what I want. So for me, like if I get to the point where I stop watching NXT, that is bad because I was in on the ground floor of this and I've loved it along the way. So yeah, this now feels like developmental. We're going to get really short matches with at least half of the talent being really inexperienced. We're basically, like I said, we're being asked to watch athletes learn how to be sports entertainers. And I'm not sure that's something I can watch for 2 hours every week, right?
No, I definitely can't.
It's different even if you're training them to be wrestlers, like in the old NXT style. Like if you're saying we want you to turn out like Ciampa, Gargano, and Dunn, so work with these. But that's not the point.
They're not.
Right?
That's not. Yeah, that's not what they're doing.
The point is they want them to turn out like Ridge Holland. That's what their hope is.
Or they
for
want
everybody.
them to turn out like, I don't know, freaking.
So
someone on the main roster.
To me, you then like. An uninspired wedding was the main event ahead of a 4-way match of the brand's major championship.
Even then, like, that was probably the best thing on the show, but it didn't even get a lot of time.
No, they got 10 minutes. It was a fun match. I think that speaks volumes, like I said, right? That's the choice and the order and the focus, right? This was late stage WCW. A million things happen. Nothing really matters. The matches are quick and pointless.
And you like nothing.
It feels exactly like a reboot of NXT with Vince and Brother Love and Dunn at the helm, right? This is exactly what you're gonna get. So I hate to sound so pessimistic. The grave has been dug, and I hope that NXT can avoid falling into it, right? But
I think it already
it's not
did.
looking good. I'm gonna say that the grave is there and open, and that I'm hoping they don't end up in it. I
think they already got.
To be positive, the 6-woman match I thought was fine. The championship 4-way was good, and I liked the Creed squash match, right? The rest was pointless, confusing, or not good. It's basically what I feared almost the most, right? Other than the championship match, which I felt like kind of old NXT minus Von Wagner, I guess. I'm not feeling optimistic. This was a D show, and that might be generous. The lowest mark I've given anything since we started, and we're on episode 61. You're giving it an F. I'll be a little bit more generous and give it a D.
They don't deserve my generosity.
But this, like we say it all the time, right? This is not for us anymore. They don't care if we watch it. They're not trying to get us to watch it.
We have no reason to watch it. We have plenty of options to replace it. We have second AEW show. I might start
New
watching
Japan,
Strong.
UK, Rampage.
We could bring ROH back on here. We have no shortage of options.
And I mean, we'd love to keep reviewing it. And if there's massive outcry from people, which I doubt there will be, I don't know. Unless some people might like to hear us get angry and complain like this every week.
Yeah, but I don't know if I hate myself that much. So let me say. Only watch this show if you like to watch bad stuff and you hate yourself.
Right. So let's get away from that and take a little break. I'm going to challenge you to some trivia in our next segment.
I accept your challenge.
Called Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I found another online quiz here on Kedaddle.
I need to unanger myself.
So we're going to start with, because I've just been really busy with work and crazy stuff going on, so we're just trying to keep it simple. So we'll see how you do on this one. Maybe you're going to correct them. Question 1. We'll go for like 25 or 30 here. Yeah. Who is the only WWE superstar who has won the Intercontinental Championship 8 times?
The only?
Is it more than that now?
Yes.
Because this was published, so tell me.
Jericho?
Yes, Jericho.
Because Miz is 8 time and Jericho's 9 time.
Because this was published on September 14th, so we're not off to a good start. This is fun. Either it's trivia or it's you fact-checking people that think they know trivia.
I don't understand that because Miz won his 8th title like years ago.
So maybe these aren't right. Let's see. Which 2 WWE superstars, one current and one past, attended WrestleMania 6 in the Toronto Skydome? So 2006, think about it. Canadians, one present, one past. That would have been
2006. Did you say WrestleMania 6? You mean?
Sorry, WrestleMania 6. Canadians that would be together at something like that.
Edge and Christian.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Sorry, too many hints probably.
Wait, aren't they both present?
Not WWE. Is what I meant. One current WWE and one not.
Well, I guess.
Well, yeah, he's not there. He's Impact. He's Impact champion. Impact champion, man.
AEW.
Anyways. WrestleMania 2000, which McMahon was on the side of Big Show in a fatal 4-way?
Hold on.
For
Shane.
That's correct. What is, and maybe I'll accept a couple answers, but the one they're looking for, what was the Great Khali's finisher?
The chop.
No.
Punjabi punch.
No, more the like.
The brain chop.
Yeah, he had the vice grip where he grabbed their head
Oh.
and slammed them down.
Yeah.
That's the one they wanted.
Okay.
Who has the record for longest time in a Royal Rumble? According to this, which may not be.
It's either Brian or Mysterio.
That is what I have here.
Who?
One of them.
Brian?
No, Mysterio.
Okay, because see, I wouldn't. I agree with that because I wouldn't count Brian because I was in the 50-man Rumble, right?
Yeah.
So like.
Oh, I should save that one for last because you know what that means. This next question I'm looking at.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to save it for last. So what does
Why?
that mean? Because you won't get it
Just
right.
do it.
No. Oh, wait. Who won the first ever Money in the Bank?
Edge.
Correct.
Adam Copeland.
What does MVP say before he does his finisher? When he does his
Ballin'?
little... Yeah, good. Ballin'. What are Chris Jericho's 2 WWE finishers called?
Lion Salt?
No.
Codebreaker?
Yes. And?
Walls of Jericho.
Correct.
Okay, because Lion Salt was his finisher at least, so I don't know.
Who has won the most Royal Rumbles and how many is it? Even I know this
Austin?
one. Yep.
3.
Good. Who did Andre the Giant defeat in a body slam challenge?
Large Jonathan Stud.
That is correct. At No Mercy 2007, who did Batista beat for the World Heavyweight Championship? And for a bonus, what type of match was it?
Undertaker?
No. If I read you the full question, you'd get it for sure.
Edge?
By the type of match. Okay, I'll read the whole question. In a Punjabi prison match.
Kali.
Yes.
I figured he beat Kali, but I thought he beat Kali in a different pay-per-view.
Who won the 2000 King of the Ring?
Angle.
Correct. Who won the 15th anniversary Legends Battle Royal?
When was it?
It doesn't say. It's old can't be recent if it's this guy winning it. I'll say that much.
Iron Sheik?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, it might have been the Gimmick Battle Royal then.
That might be what it was.
'Cause
Oh
I
yeah, it
know he
was.
won that.
Yeah, they just called it the Legends. Who's the longest reigning Divas champion?
Oh, Nikki Bella.
Correct. Whose catchphrase? Wow, this is deep. You might know this though. Is "This is my house"? Who used to scream that?
Oh.
I can give you.
I know this.
I can give you a hint if you'd like, and not a huge one. It'll just cut the population down by
okay.
half.
Yeah.
It's a woman.
Is it Paige?
Yes, it is Paige. I was
Okay.
about to say no longer wrestles. Who was the first
I knew.
SmackDown Women's Champion?
Bokeh Lunch.
Correct. It was Becky Lynch.
Current
By
one,
the way, can I
actually.
just say I saw the outfit? She looked awesome coming out to whatever show she's on that I don't even know.
Was
SmackDown.
the one with the big orange
Yeah,
jacket?
I thought she looked cool. Like I like it.
It's a good heel look, right?
Name the only diva to have the same first name and last name.
Kelly.
That's a hard one.
So nice, you gotta say it twice.
Right. Name the first overall draft pick when they did the WWE, the draft the first time.
Oh, I know this. Was it?
Makes sense.
I want to say it was The Rock.
It was The Rock.
Yes.
What is the name of John Cena's former fiance?
Nikki Bella?
Correct. Who was the first WWE superstar to win the Money in the Bank contract?
Edge.
Yeah, that was a duplicate, right? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
What year did WrestleMania debut?
85.
Why, yes, I don't know why you'd know that, but anyways.
Because I'm awesome.
Right. Who started the WWE sort of like alliance storyline conflict in 2001? Like, what was sort of the backstory for that?
WCW folded and Vince thought he bought it, and then
Right.
Shane bought it.
And
In kayfabe.
That's right. And
And
then,
the simulcast.
but then how do we get to the alliance? So Shane has WCW.
Stephanie bought ECW,
Right.
and they are like, let's fight Vince.
Right. Here's a tough one. How many WrestleManias were held in the city of Houston?
3.
2. Very
Damn it.
close.
I know one of them was, I think, WrestleMania 18. I want to say. I don't know.
Right.
Don't actually know.
Have all the rap songs in John Cena's career, all of his songs been rap, true or false?
Wait, what do you mean? Like
All
his
of his theme
song?
songs, yeah.
No.
No? Which ones weren't?
His current one.
His current one's not really... Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, I'll give it to you. At Judgment Day 2008, Triple H and
He's only
Randy,
had like 2.
Randy Orton battled in what type of match?
Sorry, say that again.
Judgment Day 2008, Triple H and Orton battled in what type of match?
Last man standing?
No.
No holds barred?
Steel cage.
Stupid steel cage.
Who did John Cena debut against?
Kurt Angle.
Right. Who was the first undisputed? Can't talk. WWE champion?
Christopher Jericho.
Yeah. Back when I loved him. How many WWE championships were won by Hulk Hogan?
6.
All right, so I'm going to end on this one, and you actually have a chance of getting it because you seem to know weird things, but I'm hoping it's difficult. Who was Mark Henry's first official match against? Oh no, you look like you might know it.
Jerry Lawler?
Oh my god, no. My plan is to never get the last question. I could ask more, but I won't be mean.
No, I want to do more.
I'll give it to you. No, you can end on that one. I'll save some of them. It doesn't seem to be the most reliable source, maybe, so I should maybe fact check them a little bit. But anyways, you did a very good job, knew many of them. And that's going to lead us into talking about hopefully a show that can put us back into a little bit better mood. And that is this week's AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, which was better.
Well, yeah, better than a D or an F, right? Considering we've never...
Well, it kind of has to be, I guess.
I would agree.
So CM Punk is on commentary the whole show.
I didn't notice him a ton. He did have a couple cool lines, but...
I don't know why, but he was.
Just because he can talk, and it's another way to get him in the show without having to give him matches and giant promos every week, I guess. True. And, like, again, I always say it. When I'm taking notes, commentary is the first thing that I sort of lose, right? So I don't know. I'm saying I didn't notice too much, but that could just be because I was focused sometimes.
Right. And first off, we get Adam Cole Bebe versus Frankie Kazarian.
Yes.
And they actually, I noticed today they put Cole's theme on iTunes, so I added that to my wrestling theme.
I actually think it's okay.
I like it more now that I've heard it better.
Yeah.
You always gotta I always try to wait till they actually put it, because like, I find themes always sound a little different in the arenas. Like I remember listening to it was Damian Priest's theme, and it just like, even in the beginning you can hear some of the noises a bit better. It just sounds like a little different always.
Yep.
So yeah, I like it more now. And so this is basically, I thought it was a good back and forth enhanced match for a fun opener. Notables. I haven't used this in a while, but holds and counters at the beginning.
Holds and counters, boys.
I almost forgot what to say, and then I was like, oh yeah, I used that.
Right.
Because that was like every match, pretty much.
Yep.
Cole backdrop flips Kaz over the rope, who hits face.
He landed hard.
His face off the apron.
Looked good.
It was like if you had him for a back suplex, but like he flipped over.
And then it's kind of like his feet hit the floor as his face hits the apron, right? And I was kind of like, I wonder if he actually hit it. It looked so good.
It was nice, yeah. Cole goes for a shoulder block with Kaz on the apron, but he jumps over and kind of hits that guillotine leg drop in the ropes on the apron. Nice pump kick by Cole. And interesting submission by Kaz. So he's got a leg trap, and he's holding both of Cole's arms, and he's got like a leg over Cole's head.
That's funny. I had the exact same words. Interesting submission by Kaz, yeah.
Nice. An Ushigoroshi by Cole for 2.
Looked great.
Chaos Theory by Kaz. Nice to see that for
Love
2. After a missed sweet chin music by Cole, which that's just kind of funny because like that's the comparison, right? So
yes.
I do kind of like that touch. Kaz runs into a gnarly super kick by Cole for 2. Kaz counters the Panama Sunrise into an Alabama Slam, pretty nice actually, and falls with a springboard leg drop for 2. A Patella drop brainbuster, no Excalibur, not an Ushigoroshi, by Cole for 2. After a brief strike exchange, finish comes when Cole avoids that guillotine leg drop in the ropes by Kaz. He hits a Panama Sunrise, and he does hit the last shot, that Shining Wizard, with the knee exposed. So that's nice that he's still using that, because I feel like Panama Sunrise, you can't be busting that out every match, you know what I mean?
I even like it as if he wants to make that the combo that he usually hits. Like, I'm fine with those two things together.
I do like, it's a really gnarly combo, but I like the last shot usually as a finish, and then Panama Sunrise, like, bust it out every now and then. Yeah,
because it's nice to not have to get the guy standing in that position every match, right? Yeah. For the Panama Sunrise.
Yeah. Post-match, Cole cuts a promo. He asks who's ready for story time, which it's it's less literal. It's more like just it's
his new thing, and I don't mind it.
Yeah. Cole says hope is a dangerous thing in the locker room. Hopes they can keep up with the elite, but they can't. Cole says Jurassic Express and Christian Cage have gone under his skin, He says that they think they're so tough they should face him in the Bucks at Rampage Grand Slam, which I thought he meant the Dynamite one, but turns out there is a Rampage Grand Slam.
Right.
He says the Super Click is back and there's nothing they can do about it.
They're basically making it like a 4-hour pay-per-view that's broken across 2 shows.
Which
how they're selling
I'm okay with that.
Me too. So about halfway through this match, I was kind of thinking it was good, but like I was about to start typing like, I feel like there's another gear that they could get into, right? And then kind of Kaz took control of the match, and it's weird to say, but I thought that's when it kind of picked up. His offense was pretty fast and cool looking, and then it was like, I don't know if it was like kayfabe or whatever, but Cole was like, holy cow, now I need to pick up what I'm doing, right? Because this guy's killing it. And they ended up having I thought, a hell of a second half of this match. The crowd got really into it, and so did I by the end. I thought a really good opener. And I thought the promo that followed was good as well, and it helps to sort of clarify Cole's near future, I thought, at least. So he's going to have a lot of fun playing a heel, like this type of heel with his friends. Like, he's going to have so much fun in AEW, I think. What do you think
Yeah,
of this?
I think it was definitely a no-brainer choice for him to
Yeah,
go.
I think so.
To AEW. I thought it was a solid and short opener between two pretty good wrestlers. I liked it. Cole looked good, and Kaz got his fair share of offense in, and that's all you can hope for like this a match between them, because like Kaz is obviously not a big star and he's not going to win.
No.
Post-match promo by Cole is good as usual. I'm happy to get that 6-man tag. Should be pretty good. I mean, it's not ideal to have Christian in there, but could be worse, I guess.
Yep.
I did see something that the Bucks had filed the trademark Super Click, which is a thing with Cole.
Yeah.
So, and he said it here, so I guess that confirms it. I like that
It's
name.
great because it's a play off a super kick, which is what
all three of them
they're known
use like
for,
a
right?
million times.
Yeah.
And it's their click, right?
Yep.
So
I
it's actually
was
awesome.
telling you during this, like, if Frankie Kazarian had like half the charisma of Adam Cole and speaking ability, he would have been, because prime Kazarian in the ring, like, I'd put him up against most people. He was super interesting to watch, and he's still good. So this match was good.
Mm-hmm. Next we get a Lucha Bros / Butcher and Blade promo. Odd, yes, but bear with me.
It was cool, yeah.
Yeah, Phoenix says them and Butcher and Blade used to be family in a faction with Eddie Kingston. Almost forgot, but that is true.
Yep.
Butcher says now they have the titles and they are the baddest, so they're after the Lucha Bros now. Penta says, obviously translated through Alex, this Friday on Rampage, they have to sweat, cry, and bleed to beat them. I thought this was solid. I think it's really weird how Butcher and Blade are already number one contenders, even though Butcher like basically just returned.
Agree.
But I guess like the excuse is they probably compete early in the year. Like I can't remember how long Butcher's out for.
Right.
And so
a long time.
And I guess that carries over because it's the yearly record, and so they are 7-0, which that
sure
is odd. Maybe they got a couple wins on Dark
on the internets somewhere.
Yeah, in the past week, because like. I don't know. It definitely carried over from early in the year. Like, there's no way they got 7-0 and like
no.
The past.
Yeah, I think it resets every year, every calendar year is what they're doing.
And then they obviously keep track of the overall record, but
right.
like it's based off the yearly record.
Yep. I like the back and forth style. I generally like. I thought Butcher and Blade, again, like you're saying, I don't know if they're deserving of a title shot, but they make sense as like the placeholder
you do
challenger.
Need placeholder, right? You do need that, and there's some history here, so that helps.
Right. So. Clearly, it's just until the next major program for Lucha Brothers, so I'm fine with it, and it'll probably be a pretty fun match.
It should definitely be like FTR.
Because Blade's good in the ring, and there's something I just think Butcher's cool. He's got a cool look, and some of his stuff looks good.
For sure.
So I thought everyone did a good job here.
Sorry, any other heel teams you think that would be good? Because all I'm coming up with is FTR.
I don't know. I'll think about it.
I could see TH2, but they wouldn't win.
They won't get that. I don't think they'll get a push.
Should be
really.
TH2. I still stand by the Power and Powerful Open Challenge thing, or like
I would like FTR to get
like
another
a one-off
shot
match.
near
FTR
the top.
for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that I don't think we've seen that yet.
No. I don't think so
nice.
either.
Fuego del Sol with Sammy Guevara interview. So I guess after the contract, Sol got a new car. And he says it's incredible, but he would trade it for the TNT title. Sammy asks if that's the challenge. Fuego says it is. Fuego says he'll put his car on the line to face Mira again for the TNT title.
It's a terrible idea, but I'm happy Fuego got a contract, but I don't need to see a rematch of this. I don't think there's a lot more interesting things Miro could be doing. I have a feeling the car is getting destroyed because it is a Hyundai, right? So I don't know if Miro's going to have much use for it, and I also don't think, and I think he tells us that later too, but I also don't think he's losing, obviously, right? So I don't know. This wasn't something I loved on this show, to be honest, but it was short and painless, I guess.
Fine promo. I have no idea why Miro accept this, other than because I guess he wants to redeem Fuego, because he did say he didn't appreciate like Fuego.
Yeah, because nobody else has come back for more. It was his thing. Once he's redeemed them, right? Nobody has returned. So why are you?
I think no. Well, like also in the earlier promo, he said like he didn't Fuego wasn't really redeemed because he took the contract despite losing to him.
He got rewarded.
That was like, so I could see Miro being like, you are yet to be redeemed, and I will redeem you, blah, 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 blah. This is the word of Redeemer. I'm Miro.
I think that might be coming, yeah.
So next we get, I just wrote MJF speaks in the ring. MJF says people should be sympathetic for him and not Pillman because he is in New Jersey, which he calls the armpit of America.
He's so old school good.
Yeah, I mean, you could, I guess, make the argument, oh, he just insults the hometown, but like...
And that is a super cheesy thing to do, but the way he does it, it works every time, so...
Right. He's very good.
Yep.
The crowd do not like it. That like, we'll just say that. I don't need to repeat. MJF asks what Jersey stuff has in common. I forget the specifics. He says they all suck as much as their Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Another shot at Jersey.
I guess so. MJF says they know he's the salt of the earth and he's very religious, so he would like to talk to Brian Pillman. He looks up and starts to talk to him, and then he realizes, what am I doing? And looks down and starts talking to Pillman. It was kind of easy to see, but it was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, it's obvious. Like, it's a pretty obvious joke, but it's still, like, basically the implication your dad's in hell, not heaven, right? So, yeah.
He says Pillman is a legend, but his widow created the worst excuse for a second-generation wrestler, which I thought that was really funny. And Pillman should tell his son not to show up at Dynamite Grand Slam, because MJF will massacre him. MJF says at the end of the day it'll be obvious, and he's going through his catchphrase, but it's cut off by Pillman's theme. MJF says Wardlow up the ramp, but of course Pillman comes from a different direction, comes in the ring with a chair, MJF runs off, and Pillman is able to fend off Wardlow. What'd you think?
I thought MJF was terrific here.
I loved it as well.
And I love that he's working so hard to elevate Pillman, right? Like, he's going to get something out of this for sure. If this were
even if Pillman inevitably loses.
He will, but he's going to come out looking like more of a star, right?
Yeah.
So if this were almost anyone else, I would say it was too long, but MJF's just so good, and like the interactions he has with this crowd that is so into everything he's doing, right, in the right ways, it's just super fun to watch. So I just kind of sit back and enjoy like this 23-year-old kid who's the master now of the old school promo style, right? Insult the crowd, the town, and your opponent, get your comeuppance and run away. Like, this is classic stuff with like his new school twist, I guess. He's fantastic, and I thought Pillman's theme really suits him as well, was my other side note.
Which I don't love it, but like...
MJF is awesome.
It works.
This was great.
I like MJF's theme. It just sounds kind of nice.
Yep.
Another good promo from MJF that kind of goes without saying now because he seems virtually incapable of cutting a bad promo, but I'll say it anyways. He's just so good. He knows what he's doing. Between the hometown roast and the shots of Pillman Sr., he knows how to elicit heat and reactions from the crowd.
Does.
And Pillman will look great as the babyface as a result. Pillman was fine here, didn't do much, but he does get a promo right after. Like, next we have, like, he has to sit down with JR.
Yeah.
But I thought this was good. MJF is just...
He's great. Notch. He makes everybody feel important, right? Somehow.
Yes. So next we do get the sit down with JR with Pillman. JR reminisces about Pillman telling him he had a son. JR says last week it was an embarrassment for Pillman's family. For the sake of his family, NJF needs to get his ass whipped next week. Pillman says JR knows his wrestling history more than anyone, and he feels like he needs to live up to his father's legacy, and he let him down last week. He says while MJF got everything handed to him on a silver spoon, he fought for everything, and MJF will see he has faced no one like him. He says at Dynamite Grand Slam he will be stepping in the ring with a Pillman, which that is a true fact.
It is. I've been saying it a while. This, I think, is the perfect role for JR. When he does this serious interviewer stuff, I think that's him at his best at this point in his career. And he creates realistic segments like this, which I really like, and that's what I want him to keep doing. But I thought this was really good. I thought Pillman was good here too, because I always say it, right? Like, when you let wrestlers tap into reality and sort of talk about things that actually happened, most of the time, that's when they're doing their best work, because they're not acting. They're just like, they're tapping into something real, which is what actors do, right? So I thought this was a really good segment, and I know this sounds strange, but it felt like the perfect length, right? It was just long enough to have substance, but didn't drag at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I liked it as well. Solid promo from him. I thought his acting was really good. They played into his real life stuff pretty nice. Contrast that Pillman keeps mentioning between him and MJF really does help this feud because it's believable and makes sense, I think.
Yep.
Like, MJF just comes across as that, like, he's had this, like, coddled upbringing, I guess.
Yeah, Silver Spoon kid.
Yeah,
He's like the privileged, wealthy kid, basically.
Right.
He's had everything handed to him.
Next we get an interview with Cage and Jurassic Express. Jungle Boy says he doesn't get the buzz around the leaks. He has better hair and friends than Cole. That's not true. Cole's hair is just he looks good.
Yep.
Cage says the Elite use their EVP status to give Cole a lifeline and drag him out of developmental. Oh, burn.
I like that line quite a bit.
Cage says since Cole's already used to losing Wednesday at Wars, oh, burn again. He can add Fridays to the list as well. Thoughts?
I thought this was pretty good. I liked Christian's shots at Cole, and we don't always love Christian on the mic, right?
It was not very nice.
Should be a really fun multi-man match as well. The only, like, to nitpick, I guess, you know how Luchasaurus, like, growled at the end of this?
Yeah.
I just find that a little lame now that we've heard him talk a bunch of times.
Guess.
But yeah, I thought this was fine, and Christian was funny.
Yeah, so I thought this was fine. The shots at WWE were good, but also offensive to Cole, so I kind of mixed feelings about that. Like,
Yeah.
especially when it's Christian Cage. Like, Christian
You
Cage
would.
talking smack to my boy, really? Huh?
He is.
Really? Overall, a good promo, though, all jokes aside. I guess Cole didn't mess up with the Rampage Grand Slam. I guess it makes sense they would do one for both shows. And so the Rampage Grand Slam will be 2 hours, so
Right.
that's nice.
That's right.
I would actually... it's pretty excited. I want to review that then, so... we should review
We can
that.
fit it in somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe NXT will suck so much we won't even want to review it.
We can just do less detailed than we normally do, right?
Yeah.
Like, go with my Impact style now,
Or-
which is like, here's who won. Let's talk
I'm
about
thinking
it a bit.
we can just go with the results and opinions
Yeah,
thing like
I
that
agree.
we've already done.
Yep.
So yeah. Next we have a match between FTR and Seidel and Dante Martin.
So on paper, I really like the contrast in these two teams, right?
Right.
The old school, no flips, just fist, and then two guys that just want to fly and run and be quick. So that's cool.
Right, and you take out the Seidel we don't care about that much
Right.
and replace him with the new super jumpy guy that is impressing everyone.
He sure is.
Yes. So description, a solid enhancement TV tag with the expected outcome, 'cause I don't think anyone expects Matt Seidel to win a match against real people.
Not too often, no.
Arm drags by Seidel to Dax, double dropkick by Martin and Seidel for 1, corner boots and chops by Dax. Martin's on the apron and takes a Wheeler, who, while lying on the apron, kicks Martin's leg to screw up his springboard dive attempt and looked pretty nice.
It did.
He was like kind of laying on the apron after being hit, and then he just like kicks out his leg. Chops on the outside by Cash, and he follows up by sending Dante into the ring post. An aggressive headlock in the ring by Cash.
Aggressive headlock.
Yes. He was just like reefing on it and whatnot. Double dive to the outside by Sal and Martin after a hot tag flurry from Seidel. FTR catch a crossbody from Seidel, and Martin hits a springboard dropkick to assist. A flurry by Martin, a series of back and forth pins by Cash and Martin, and the Martin repeatedly avoids offense from FTR, but is eventually and inevitably caught by a smash contraption for the win.
Smash contraption.
Yeah.
I thought this was a very fun match, and it's what we expected, right? FTR's trying to slow things down. Martin and Seidel are trying to speed things up. I thought Dante and Seidel got some time. Each of them looked great at different parts in this. And FTR just did what they always do, right? They work an old school smash mouth match. I don't think it was fantastic, but I think it was a good, like, middle of the show TV match for sure.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I thought it was a fine little TV tag, where the result was never in doubt. But they still made Martin look good again in defeat.
Yep.
I think they still need to start building to FTR or Santana Ortiz finale, though, because I think it has to happen. It should be sooner or later. I think that we definitely need a tiebreaker for the feud.
Or a guess, but I don't want the belts off Lucha Bros. I was going to say, like, FTR could end up winning the titles from them, and then the rubber match is with Proud and Powerful.
No, but then I would say
like
Proud
that.
and Powerful should win, and then that's 2 short reigns.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, they're really good at extending things, right? So they could drag out the Lucha Brothers run until FTR, like, a while. I don't know. It's an idea.
Next we got Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer promo.
Yeah.
And so, for those who don't know, in New Japan, they're in a faction together, that's already a
Suzuki-gun.
kick-ass faction.
Yep.
Like, I guarantee there's other people, but why would you need other people? It's Archer and Suzuki. It's mainly Archer talking, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Archer says Mox won Suzuki in AEW, but Mox won in Cincinnati, and that's unfair. Archer says Mox had everyone on his side, and that will change in New York. Yeah, because people in New York hate Mox, I guess. Like,
it's not his hometown, at least, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it sounds like, oh yeah, your hometown loves you, everyone else hates you.
Anywhere else, I'm gonna be the babyface.
Yeah, if we go to New York, everyone's gonna cheer for me and Suzuki. He says he and Suzuki have been teaming for a long ass time, and they will beat Mox and Kingston next week. So that's a nice addition to the show.
It is. I kind of liked Archer's heel logic, right?
I think he said next week.
Like Mox was at home, the crowd was for him, the ref was for him, right? So just sort of, it's basically saying it's not you're supposed to be this. Yeah,
he was like speaking for Suzuki, I think.
Yeah, it's like he's saying like you're supposed to be this badass, but it's not very badass to challenge a guy when you have all these perceived by them advantages, right? Like how tough are you? It's in your hometown with the ref that wants you to win.
Even in his promotion.
Right. And I think I was wrong early on in AEW about Archer needing Jake and not being able to cut a promo, because there's been several now. Like the evidence is there. He can talk just fine. So I don't think he needs Jake, and I like this little segment here.
Yeah. Next we get a promo from Malachi Black, and his entrance is very nice. And I like even his promo gear, just like the black suit and whatnot.
He's cool.
He tells the members of the House of Black to rise, for they have an enemy in their midst. Even just that one line I love so much. It's very nice. He points out Rosario Dawson wearing a Nightmare Family jacket in the crowd. Who's Rosario Dawson, you may ask?
Bit random.
She plays Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, so that even sounds more random, but she's apparently a judge with Cody on that dumb show.
That makes sense. And she's been an actor forever. Yeah. Quite famous.
She plays Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know her from.
Mm-hmm.
Black looks ready to attack, and then Cody walks down through the crowd. Because of course he does.
Yep.
Yeah, big red suit and all. Dawson distracts by jumping on Black's back, and then Cody then arrives and the brawl begins. They go up in the crowd, up the stairs, and it ends when they cut to a commercial break.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this. Love myself some Malachi Black, but him struggling with he's this legit kickboxer, mixed martial artist, whatever, and he's struggling with Rosario Dawson on his back for several seconds, which was kind of ridiculous. The brawl was just too long and uneventful. If you're gonna brawl through the crowd and up into the stands and whatever, it's got to lead to some sort of cool spot, right? Or else, what's the point? You're just punchy the whole walking through the crowd. So I don't find that super interesting. I find I don't really miss Cody when he's gone, and I think the match might be they probably pull out a pretty good dramatic match, but I'm kind of looking forward to Black moving past this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, for sure. I like Black's whole line. I don't know. I just really like him and his promos. His promos and the way he speaks now, it's just so interesting, I think.
Yeah, he's he sounds cool, but he actually has a point that you can get out of it, and that's what he was missing.
Seeing Rosario Dawson was kind of cool, because I do remember seeing her in The Mandalorian season 2. Black did look kind of dumb, not being able to shake her off, and then Cody was largely in control in the brawl. Just such a Cody segment, you know?
Yep.
Just very in line with him. Next we get a Bunny promo / Anna Jay interview, 2 back-to-back segments that just kind of clumped together. Because they have a Rampage match this week. Yep. Or actually, I guess, yesterday.
Right.
Bunny says the Queen Slayer is back and everyone's excited. Bunny says she wouldn't have attacked Anna on Dark if she would just stay out of her business, but she can't, and Anna wouldn't want to be dragged down the rabbit hole. Bunny pun. I'm gonna just lump them.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Uno says he will lead the way, but Reynolds interrupts and says nothing has changed. 5 says Uno's on a power trip. Reynolds says he came back to support Anna after Uno's like, hey, didn't you leave? After more arguing, Anna says they can't get it together. She doesn't want them out for her match, and Taya Conti's like, I got your back.
Yeah, I thought Bunny's part was fine. I imagine she's just here to lose to Anna Jay, who needs wins because she's back, right? So in that case, I think that's a fine role for Bunny. The Dark Order stuff, I still don't love it, man. I'm starting to find it a little bit confusing. It's like the women have issues with all of them or some of them.
Or they just don't want them fighting.
They don't want the support of them as they're going to have matches.
No, because she doesn't want it because they're like, that'll cost her the match because they're going to be like arguing and whatnot.
Oh, they're turning on Evil Uno, apparently. The bottom line is, regardless of what's going on, I used to love every segment that these guys had, and now I'm not. So I'm not happy at the end of the day with the Dark Order progression. But again, I think they can still pull it out with one of those, like, they're stronger because they go through this stuff. So that's what I'm really hoping for.
No, they will be stronger because they go through it, and they will attain Hangman.
You're right. Hangman comes back to pull it all together, right? He's the glue that keeps that faction together.
Which I think, and that will build his confidence.
And then them being unified and supporting him, it will get him to face Omega and win.
And I think...
Which is definitely, like, we're fantasy booking, but I feel like that's really possible, actually.
Right. And so I said this was week 1 of me waiting, anticipating Hangman's return.
Yep.
It did not happen this week, so we will wait till Grand Slam. I could actually seeing that pretty likely because that's a pretty big show.
Yeah, it is.
And
should be fun.
He's been gone for a while. I think he's
even just
good.
Show up for now and not do anything.
No,
yet.
I want him to do stuff.
Well, of course you do, but they tend to slow burn.
What's her face? His wife can stay home, do stuff. He can be awesome wrestler guy, and yes.
Sure.
Next, we get a promo from Dan Lambert and Damena Deere.
Not that they say anything, which is frustrating me.
They hardly even do anything.
Anyways.
Especially with Ethan frickin' Page is standing right there.
I know, not talking.
Not speaking.
Weird. But anyways.
Not nice.
Sorry,
Lambert says when he was younger, you could find out who's the best by seeing what was selling. When would he have been young? Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Probably, actually. I don't know.
Who sells the most merch?
Oh, that was more of an old joke, but that feels actually right. He says in AEW everything is sold out in men's small and women's extra large.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Although I feel like it's men's extra large,
but he's still saying stuff's selling out, so that's kind of not really that much of an insult.
It's almost a backhanded compliment, I guess. Lambert says they don't like what he's saying. They can plug their ears for the next 60 seconds and they can watch a match. He exaggerates to mock it like Spot Fest and
my favorite stuff. This isn't real, basically.
You want to enjoy it more? Here comes Jericho and Hager. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Party up in here. Lambert wants the music off and continues complaining after the music is off.
Yes. It had shut off and he's still saying to cut the music.
The music stops. Turn the damn music off.
Yeah.
And the fans continue to sing. Lambert says he's surprised Jericho's out here to defend the fans, but it's not too surprising. So he's like, oh, I'm surprised. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Like, okay. Because Jericho will do anything for the fans to get them to buy his crap. I think he even wrote his book, because that's recent. Jericho asks what Lambert's problem is, because he stands there like an angry grump every week. He says Lambert stands around with his meatheads and asks who's on top. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, a little homophobia, not a super big fan of.
He's always, I feel like he's always doing like these dirty jokes like, haha, who's on top? Or jerk off friend, or like he's always doing something like that.
I didn't like the implication of this one particularly, but like that's something to mock in somebody.
I feel like wouldn't he be that kind of person? Because
I mean, I have some issues with Jericho away from the ring that I'd rather not get into.
Yeah.
Yes.
Political views.
It kind of hurts me because he's one of my favorite wrestlers ever, and we differ on some fundamental issues for sure.
Jericho says they won't say anything because they rely on intimidation, referring to the MMA guys, but they aren't afraid. He basically talks about all his altercations with MMA people, and I think this is referring to like Lesnar and Goldberg, and then I assume it could be also referring to Tyson.
Because he got into fights with people, and
then he also touts Hager's MMA record because he's an actual MMA person rather than
he's actually pretty good, I think,
just
too.
Arguing with MMA people.
Right.
Jericho says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and that's what he and Hager will do. Lambert says the men in the year will end them. Unfortunately not, but not in stupid New Jersey. And he says they'll see them next week.
Yeah, I didn't care for this week, and I like Lambert's stuff's been hit and miss for me. I get that it's his character, but him talking about like how small the guys are, how the matches are a spot fest, how guys are kicking out of moves that should end matches. He's basically calling wrestling fake without saying it, and I'm never really a fan of that, right? Storyline or otherwise.
I kind of agree, because that's the stuff that, like, when I started getting that was like always the cheap
Yeah.
insult right away. Like, oh, isn't it fake?
Right.
You do know it's fake, right?
And
like,
he's walking
no,
right
I
up
don't
to
know.
that. Like, clearly a real person wouldn't kick out
Right.
from a destroyer off the top ropes or
He's
whatever.
trying to be subtle, but also not actually.
And I don't love that Scorpio Sky and especially Paige just stand there and like
yeah,
mugging.
Sky's like we're always saying Paige is good, but Sky's pretty good
He's
promo
not
as
bad.
well.
And again, Jericho's joke didn't work for me. Feels
as in general, I haven't loved any of his promos that much since his face turn, because I thought his heel promos were always like full of funny digs and whatnot.
He is funnier for sure. I feel like this is a big step down for Jericho, that might be appropriate at this point, right? For his age and ability and just how much time he's been at the top of the card already. So I'm not super interested in this match, if I'm being honest. And like I said, top team is like really hit and miss for me, and this week was a miss.
I feel like this is not gonna do anything for the men of the year. It's almost dragging them down. Like, I guess they're on the show, but doing what? They haven't spoken and haven't done anything.
Standing with MMA people that I don't know because I don't follow it, so it doesn't
care
impress
about them
me
either.
Yeah.
The Lambert promo was solid, I guess. I don't love all the MMA people there, and Lambert exposing the business too much is not great.
Exposing the business.
Yeah,
brother.
I don't like the match that they're setting up because Jericho and Hager aren't that great, and there's no way the Men of the Year will win that, unfortunately, which sucks because I love them and they're really good, just like their theme. I really enjoy their theme.
Yep, there's a heel tag team.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
Right?
I was saying that the other
eventually.
week. Yes, they should. I would very much enjoy a promo.
Yeah.
Well, promos and then a match between those teams. That would be awesome.
Yep, it would.
But there's just no way. When like Jericho's offense I think the MJF feud really exposed him, because I got to watch him week after week after week after week after week do axe handles off the top rope. Like just the most old school offense, like maybe a lion salt and a Frankenstein was the only like moderately modern thing he did, and so I really don't have interest in him anymore. Like I feel like for a while we were saying like, oh, there's old guys like Sting, but Jericho's not actually that bad.
He's slowed down a bit,
but he's getting there for me. I've just started to notice like in the recent months or so. So
he works a more basic match these days for sure.
Yeah, I don't really have that much time for him anymore.
Fair enough.
Next we get to a pointless promo from the Gun Club. There's how pointless it is. It's mostly Billy talking.
We're gonna disagree here.
Really?
Agree to disagree. Yeah.
You like the Gun Club?
I did like this, but anyways.
Oh, I didn't hate it, but I'm just saying Gun Club don't matter that much.
No, that is fair.
Billy says this is about disrespect, and nobody's been more disrespected than the Gun Club. Billy says what they did to Paul White. They did what they did to Paul White because wins and losses in AEW are supposed to matter, and they're undefeated in every tag combination of their group. Oh yeah, you love that line, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Every tag combination of their group and in trios matches, and they'll earn respect one way or another. You wanna go?
Yeah, I don't really like the Gun Club, but I thought this was really good. And again, heel logic, maybe not even just logic, right? They
I think
are undefeated in every combination.
So the logic comes in where the point you've made that wins and losses are supposed to matter.
But the quality of opponent.
Right, that's where the heel logic
part.
is. So I think it's a bit of both.
So I thought this little segment here might be my favorite thing that they have done. Because I thought Billy Gunn was good and he made solid points. Because like I said, I complain about it, right? So they're saying, look at records are supposed to matter. We're undefeated. Why are we not even mentioned or ranked or whatever their problem is? So I like this.
I thought it was pretty good as well. The only thing is I don't really care about them. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
What they're saying makes sense, and it's embarrassing in AEW. They are undefeated when many others are not.
Right.
I guess that's what always competing on Dark will do for you. Like
internet wins.
Yes.
Yep.
Next we get a Jade Cargill versus Layla Hirsch, and I swear the size difference is very
incredible.
Amusing.
Just a great visual.
I'm not gonna say she's like no good because she's small, but it's really funny.
Oh, it's just a glaring difference for sure. It's like Daniel Bryan facing Brock Lesnar or something, right? Like it's a similar visual.
It'd be like Hornswoggle facing Brock Lesnar.
Drake Maverick versus Lashley.
Oh yeah, Drake Maverick versus Brock Lesnar.
It's more like Tyler Bate because she is super strong, right? So it's kind of like Tyler Bate facing Walter.
You can definitely tell if she's like got like the buff legs.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's a powerhouse.
I feel like she's like just yeah.
She's very short but very very strong for
Yeah,
sure.
she's pretty nice.
And Cargill's like pushing 6 feet and looks like an action figure.
Yes.
Yes. If you don't
with
watch the
a
show.
removable wig.
Yeah, the hair is a bit much, but anyway.
It's like it's her hair looks like, because the Doink Elites will come with like different hair pieces. You can.
You saying she's got clown hair?
Well.
Basically, that is what you are saying.
I kind of. Well, it's because like he comes with different hair pieces that are like different sculpts.
It's not even the color for me. It's the texture or the way it moves and stuff. It just looks super
I think it's
strange.
partially the color, because it's just such an unauthentic white.
Well, yeah, but I'm used to that in
like,
wrestling, like blue and pink and whatever. That's
yeah,
fine.
but like
it's more the way it doesn't move or moves. I don't know. Anyways, it's a lot of talk.
It just looks like stuck to her head.
The rest of her looks incredible. She is just the most ripped person ever. But anyways,
Yes.
talk about the match.
Yes. A short TV match, basically, where Hirsch dominated mostly and Cargill eked out a win. Notables were some ground and pound early on by Hirsch, running double knees, like Andrade style, to a seated Cargill in the corner, followed by like kind of like the jump up and a swing into a drop kick. Cargill gets out of an armbar with a power bomb kind of like move. German suplex by Hirsch for 2. Lope suicide dive by Hirsch. Running pump knee by Hirsch for 2. Hirsch misses a moonsault, of course, and Cargill hits a pump kick and hits Jaded for the win, which it looked. I didn't love it, because it's like she kind of stalls for a second, and then Hirsch should be able, because you could get a really easy like victory roll pin on that, right? So like Hirsch looks kind of dumb just
to that point. Well, sort of, but one of my things was I thought you're right. Even when she did pause, though, I thought Layla Hirsch, the look on her face was awesome, because she sort of did a look like, uh-oh, I know what's coming, but there's nothing I can do about it. I know you're saying there is, but I thought, like, because that's what she's supposed to do there, right? I thought she conveyed a lot with her face there.
And I wish there was a little more impact on it, because she's dropping it on her face, which I feel like she needs a better finisher, maybe at least something more original.
Because it's kind of just like gravity's taking her. Like, sure, you're sitting out with her or whatever, but
that actually,
you're not applying a ton more. It's like, spreading out.
People
the force,
taking sit-up power bombs better than power bombs.
So considering the experience level of both of these women, I thought this was pretty good. Like you said, the visual of the size difference was amazing. I noticed one small like spot, a miscommunication somewhere in the middle, kind of like Irish whip. Nope. Okay, what are we doing? Sort of thing. But I thought the rest was fine. And again, I loved Hirsch's face when she was up in the Jaded. And I thought it was a solid match. And Jade obviously needs to win to keep that streak alive. She's got the undefeated thing going. But I hope Layla Hirsch starts to pick up some quality wins, because I think she's really cool.
I still think she should go to Team Taz.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, she's perfect for NXT if she was a little taller. She's young. She's a professional.
She's exactly like
she's
Ivy
an amateur
Nile.
Wrestler. But she's actually well, maybe she is too. I don't know.
Ivy Nile look pretty short, so like they look pretty.
But Hirsch is like a legit amateur wrestler, which seems to be what they want, right? You can't find any women American football players because it doesn't really exist. So you just got to focus on the wrestlers, I guess.
Which is what we prefer.
Right. Yes.
This is. I thought it was a fine short match. Cargill didn't get a ton of offense in compared to Hirsch, who looked pretty good, which is odd, but it was fine. Didn't feel super necessary on the show, but it was pretty good.
Yep.
Next we get an Andrade promo, which may not sound that interesting, but
yeah, because so far I haven't loved him in AEW, and I love Andrade.
Oh, they also put out his theme. I listened to it again. It's okay. It's not great.
Wore my Andrade shirt to work the other day.
Yeah, and so we pointed out, because it has his La Sombra mask on there, right? And it says Andrade, but then it says nickname at the time, El Idolo.
Yep.
So it looks like it says his AEW
name,
current. Andrade El Idolo.
And no WWE
and
markings.
No visible WWE logos, right? There's probably like one like
inside.
On the inside, but like you can't see it. So
it could work for a current AEW shirt.
Right.
It's just Andrade El Idolo, so it's perfect.
And with his mask.
Yep.
Well, which I don't think he uses anymore, but that details don't matter.
Wore it to work. Not one person knew what it was. That is the standard when I wear a wrestling shirt to work.
Yes. Oh, I accidentally wore well, I'm not wearing anymore because I showered, but
Appreciate that.
I had Viking. You can't smell me from there.
I'm just joking.
I was wearing a Viking Raider shirt yesterday. I guess I just didn't change. I woke up. I put on shorts and whatever.
You wore your pajama shirt to school?
Well, it wasn't a pajama shirt because I wore it to school yesterday as well.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Change your clothes. Anyways, talk about
Andrade. I have changed my clothes, all right?
Talk about Andrade.
Andrade says if you lie to him, it's because you don't respect him, which I like that line. Andrade says he is always one step ahead, and that's why he has his assistant Jose. He orders Jose to tell him what happened, and his Rampage match was
As
packed.
he looks like he's gonna kill him, he grabs him by the scruff of the neck, basically.
And he says he never gave the order to interfere, and Jose said Chavo told him to, and Andrade says Chavo's not the boss. He says he is the kingpin, and he can be anyone when he wants.
Yeah, I love this. This Andrade's speaking more slowly. His English is probably improving. I don't know if he's ever spoken better than this.
I would still prefer a mouthpiece, but it was still good.
I kind of like this. His intensity and anger came through. The fear he put in his assistant there was really good, and this is more like the Andrade I want to see, right? It's like he knows he's so good, he doesn't need any shortcuts and stuff, and he's got that anger and that rage, but at the end of the day, he believes he can beat anybody. And I haven't loved how he's been presented so far, but the same thing with Miro, right? He started out super cold for me, and look at him now. I love him.
Right.
So I think Andrade is like an undeniable star.
There's always the feeling out process.
Yep. And I think they're starting to figure out exactly how to use him now. So I hope he gets to keep speaking for himself once Ric Flair shows up to manage him. Because that's happening.
He's bound to sign, so...
Yeah. And you think Andrade's just been shedding the managers he gets for no reason? Like, he's already gotten rid of 2 for some reason, right? So anyways, but I really like this.
I did kind of like Chavo, so I thought it kind of worked. I thought it was a great promo from Andrade, which could set up a rematch, which would be very nice. And this was his best promo so far. This also opens the door for someone better to pair with Andrade. Not Ric Flair, but probably Ric Flair. Well, Vega re-signed, so that's...
Out of the question.
Bet
she doesn't regret that, because she's been booked like a star.
Yeah.
Or the opposite.
Not like her husband and also former...
Left the company and signed somewhere else.
Her husband and also former Charge are doing much better. Not like that's happening at all.
Right.
Next we get Taz going to the commentary desk. He's accompanied by Hook. He's shouting at Punk. Punk stares on Hook, gets blindsided by Hobbs. He gets slammed on the announce table, which they mentioned was a one-sided table, which that works because that's why the table sits over.
A lucite table, so it's made of like
that's what I mean.
Stuff that won't break.
Or it was like because I thought it meant like the other. Never mind.
It's the material it's made of, basically. Oh. It's not wood, is what they're saying.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I find their announce setup interesting because they have like actual TV monitors.
Yeah, like big ones.
Yeah.
Because Hook had to gently like take them off instead of like smashing them. He's like kind of picking them up like he cares about them.
I guess it's an actual like real looking table because like it's like WWE's. It's like they got the big graphic on the cover and like they have.
It looked like it hurt.
These like little like pad monitors now. It used to be like the big honking like
the deep ones built into the table, recessed in the table a bit.
And like it's not a table real people use.
Yeah.
Right. So this is like and it's like very secluded. It's like it's never really used for anything. Like whereas WWE like they're usually 1 right at ringside and 2 like
as soon as they go outside, you're like someone's going through that.
Or like they're getting slammed off it every like
it's getting used
10 seconds, right? And so I thought this was fine. I guess to further this feud, but nothing super interesting. But I guess it was short.
I liked it. I like the cheap heels attacking from behind, driving him through, not quite through a table. I think this did more to establish kind of Hobbs as a menacing heel than most stuff he's already done, right? So I think, again, he should get something out of being in a program with Punk. He's not going to win, clearly. But again, Punk can elevate him, right? And I think at least CM Punk is claiming that's the phase of his career he's in. I'll believe it when I see it with him, usually. But
he did elevate Allen.
Yeah, he can help Hobbs, I think. So I had no problem with this.
Yeah. So next we get a Shawn Spears promo. Spears agrees with Allen's generic and piece of crap insults, and he says that's why he was the first to beat Darby in AEW. He says history will repeat itself, and this is the chairman cometh.
I thought this was a nice, intense, quick little promo. And this sounds mean, but he makes a really good competitive heel that never wins. Like, that sounds mean, but there's a role, right?
I feel like if they ever get another mid-card title, which I think they should, because they're expanding their roster very much, and they have a second show.
I could see him with a short TNT reign at some point.
I would even yes. I like him, actually.
I don't think the odds are in that favor, but I could see it.
I like him, and I miss Ty Dillinger.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of liked him.
I'm kind of liking the work he's doing right now.
I have actually been enjoying him recently, especially with that Guevara match.
Yep.
That was
Liked
pretty
it a
good.
lot.
And so yeah, he hasn't. I agree. He's like, he never wins recently, but I think he definitely should start winning because I think he deserves it.
Or he'll win on the internet at least.
Yeah, but I want to
We'll
watch
never
him
know.
win. I mean, I don't like that he calls his finisher C4. I find that kind of offensive. But,
Yes.
So yeah, I thought it was a nice little promo from him, which it also reminds us of some key history between the
Right.
two, which
I always enjoy.
Yep, always
Having
helpful.
no memory of anything.
Yeah. And we follow right up with Spears versus Darby Allin. And Spears got really cool entries. The lights are dark, and there's just the spotlight of him on the steel chair. He's got like that hood scarf thing. And, like, he, like, comes off and, like, slams the steel chair
I thought
shut.
it looked pretty cool, too, actually.
I know, I really liked it.
Yep.
I don't even know if, like, because I feel like lately he's been using the Pinnacle theme, so he got to use his theme, which is, it's, like, voiced by Josiah Williams, who's, like, pretty WWE affiliated right now.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, but he did, like, that rap entrance for Cole.
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
He was doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so that's him, and so I find that funny, because he's pretty WWE. Like,
Yeah.
he's, like, I don't know what his deal is, but he's pretty affiliated, so I find it funny that he does Spears theme. But I really liked it. I do like his theme pretty good, and I thought the entrance, it was really nice. I don't know if I've noticed it that much before, but it was
Yeah, I
good.
liked it too. I thought he looked cool.
Yeah, a fun and competitive TV match this was. Notables were Spears attacks Darby right away with a running corner knee and stomps. I don't even think the match started yet. Spears sends Darby into the stairs. He hits repeated knees with Darby's head against the stairs, and he goes for a running one and misses.
Mm-hmm.
He does expose the knee, which I don't know how much more damage it does.
I thought those knees to his head against the step
those
looked
look
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah.
Darby goes for a suicide dive, but is blocked by Tully, and Spears trips Darby on the apron, which looked really cool. Darby almost did like kind of a
Flipped right over.
turned him inside out, as they say.
And it looked like he landed on his neck, right, basically.
Yeah.
Right? And then he was selling it too, which was good.
Spears grabs the cloth and rubs with Darby's face paint. Oh, boo, mean heel.
I think that's cool. Like, that's a cool heel thing, though.
Yeah,
like, this is your identity. I'm taking it from you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I haven't seen Darby Allin with, like, actually without face paint completely since, like, the Wrestlers
It's
documentary.
akin to taking the luchador's mask, right? Like, very same idea.
Especially when it's Penta.
Yes.
Never take Penta's mask. If
Right.
anyone takes Penta's mask, I will actually hunt them down.
Wow. It's aggressive.
But he is... Penta looks awesome, okay?
He does.
So you can't ever take his mask.
I wouldn't.
Post-commercial break, Spears has a Scorpion Deathlock applied. Hate that we have to call it that. Like, that's the go-to name for it, really. And Darby makes it to the ropes like, it's a sharpshooter, okay?
Yep.
Or a cross-legged Boston Crab. Just don't call it the Scorpion Deathlock.
And did you know that the sharpshooter, according to Josh Matthews on Impact, to steal one of my notes from later this week, he said that, I forget who even put it on, probably Petey Williams, but that you can't graduate high school in Canada without knowing how to apply a sharpshooter, which I thought was kind of, I thought it was kind of
funny. I mean, it's not super complicated, but like,
no.
But
like
that's kind of funny.
it's this inherently Canadian thing that we all know because everyone loves wrestling in Canada, of course.
Right. Oh no! Don't forget, everyone loves hockey.
Yes.
Everyone loves hockey here. Okay.
Yes.
That's our sport that everyone must love.
They must.
Drop kick to the knee and a code red for 2 by Darby, which I thought that looked pretty nice. Spears is in the trio woe, and Darby was attacking that knee of Spears that he hit off the stairs earlier. He pulls Darby from the turnbuckles by his chain, which is pretty nice. And
yeah,
like, that's what you get for wearing the chain.
Great heel work.
Yep. Gotta take advantage.
Yep.
Darby, now I'm really sad I didn't get the Ty Dillinger Elite. Because I remember from my one birthday,
Get distracted
much?
much?
Elite 57. That remember there was like the gold Seth Rollins. I got Nakamura and the Corbin with the briefcase.
Yep.
And Ty Dillinger's in that series. Also Scotty 2 Hotty for some reason.
Nice.
Darby hits a suicide dive with Spears seated on the stairs, which were put near
Looked
the apron.
amazing.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, awesome.
And Darby rolls Spears in the ring to hit a coffin drop to Spears back for the win. That was the finish. Post-match, FTR brawl with Darby and Sting. Where's that going? Wonder. Tully has a chair, and Sting knows has a chair shot, which that's really annoying, because yes, Tully's old, but so is Sting. FTR double team Sting, and a really nice spike pile driver to Sting.
It was.
Like,
he's willing to
really
take
cool.
stuff, man, still, so that's cool.
I mean,
as long as he's okay.
He's no selling chair shots, but that was really nice. And he also gets his face paint white. Boo, mean heels.
Right. This was probably my match of the night. I really liked it. I particularly
I stand by my thoughts that this should have been the main event. I thought this was the main event, and then there was like a bunch of time left.
I liked Spears specifically in this because it's the Darby Allin match, right? Where you're gonna get to dominate most of it, so you better look good because it's a lot of you, and Darby just being the relentless undersized babyface gets his butt handed to him, perseveres, pulls out the win, right? So I thought, especially the head into the steps, the use of Allen's chain, like cool heel work by Spears. He looked good here. And then we got a good vicious beatdown by FTR after with a really, as you said, a really nice spike pile driver to Sting. And again, I think the wiping off of the face paint is like the taking a luchador's mask, and I think it's a cool heel move. So lots of really heel stuff here that I liked.
Yes. I enjoyed this as well. I thought it was a great little TV match. Didn't get a lot of time, but that's okay. I will accept it.
Yep.
These guys worked pretty well together, and there were some cool spots in the short time they had. The aftermath was a standard heel beatdown. It'll obviously lead to Darby and Sting versus FTR, which I don't think you'll love because that does not end well for FTR.
Probably not.
Like, FTR should not be losing to Sting. They're like...
I mean, maybe Sting takes a pin. I don't know. Sting gets a smash contraption. Maybe.
Now that's all I can think about. I would love
nice.
for him to take a smash contraption. It's actually I'm playing Universe.
If he could take a spike pile driver, he can take a smash contraption.
That is true. I'm playing a Universe on 2K, and I actually have Dillinger as my TV champ.
Nice.
Because God, he's tight. I like playing as him because he has his corner moves, like a corner signature, corner finisher. He pulls down the knee pads.
Right.
And I really like doing that, and I also like doing the straps down.
Yeah, you do.
I like that.
You do like that.
Like Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
Next we get a Bryan Danielson promo. I think it was like one of the where he just talks to the camera.
And it's American Dragon name is back, which I really like because that's
nostalgia.
Exactly.
He says the way the Elite act and dress seems like they're insecure. He says he's only after Omega and not the Elite because he's seen and heard how good Omega is, and he's excited to wrestle.
This was in ring, by the way, with Tony.
No, he had one after this that was in ring.
Because I specifically have Tony is in the ring to talk to Bryan Danielson.
No, he had one after that. It was really weird.
Okay, carry on.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
He says this will be the best Bryan Danielson. He would love for Kane to be his first match. He says he loves how in AEW everyone's hungry and he's game for it.
Yes.
Thoughts, or did you think it was...
I thought this was the in-ring one, so I'll wait.
A solid promo from him and simple as well.
Oh, no, I do have it. Sorry, go ahead.
This feels very real as well, which we were kind of talking about, because he is the guy who just wants to wrestle.
Right.
And then presenting him as that works, because he is really good at wrestling, and this is like... He actually wants to do that?
That's all he wants to do. Yeah, sorry, I do have this. It was just up off the screen. So I think this makes a ton of sense, right? Like you're saying, this is really believable. Danielson would hate everything about the Elite, right? They're the exact opposite of what he is. Sure, they're good wrestlers, but they're all about being flashy.
But they're like behind this like gimmick, right?
So his whole thing right now is he's here to wrestle. So starting with the best wrestler in the company because he has the belt makes sense, and the match should be freaking awesome. So I thought this was a good promo.
You should definitely find someone to partner with, and then take on the Bucks. It could be Punk. I still think that would be good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone else who would be good, but I don't have any.
We'll think about it off air.
At least Punk. And so next we get Tony Schiavone speaking in ring with Bryan, which is
that is
back
correct.
to back.
Now I'm on board with you.
Like that.
Yeah, you're right.
It is odd.
Pre-recorded and live, back to back.
Yes. Bryan is about to speak, but Callis and Omega interrupt. Callis says they've heard enough. It was weird because his Mike was having audio issues because they were booing and like you were confused, but like because I could hear it faintly, like his.
You're like, why are they booing Bryan Danielson?
That's just like the last person they would boo.
Right.
Cal says he's listened to this all week and talks about how hard it must have been to come to a company built on Omega. Cal says Bryan came here thinking about what's best for the business and says Bryan is the carny and not him, but then he says Omega said that's how Bryan thinks, and Cal corrects himself and calls Bryan a mark.
Yeah.
Just
Bryan, like all these people.
Yes. Bryan tells Cal to shut up and he's here to talk to Omega. Bryan says someday it'll be about the title, but right now it's about who is better and to give the fans what they want. Cal says no, and Bryan tells him to shut up. He says you came to talk to Omega and maybe shouldn't have, because he came to fight the best belt machine, and since he's been here, he's only seen a goof who hangs out with a bunch of stooges and has Callis talk for him, and he says Omega has lost his balls, and he asks what Omega's answer is, and Omega eventually says yes.
Yeah, I love this pretty much. Like, just the contrast between Omega and Danielson in every area is beautiful, I think. Like, Omega's being the over-the-top showman now, and Daniel Bryan,
weird mustache.
Daniel Bryan's just this grinder of a wrestler, right? You got Omega dressing flashy. He dyes his hair. Bryan wears plain white t-shirts and like dad running shoes. Omega's constantly got backup with him, and it's all about the numbers game. Danielson is like here on his own and has nobody with him. I loved Danielson not even responding. He like lets Callis ramble for a while, shuts him up, and just completely dismisses him, right? Because he's here to relentlessly suggest a match against the best wrestler, because that's all he wants. So I thought this was great. He wants nothing to do with all the extra crap that comes along with dealing with the elite. He just wants to wrestle Omega. I thought Omega's sort of flash of that serious face at the end, right, is showing that he's kind of bringing the best bout machine out of Kenny. And even if he ends out regretting it, like, that's what Danielson wants, right? So I thought this was...
I think it's non-titled, though, so he has a better chance.
Right. I think it's one of these, like, as I say, like, great professional wrestling segment, and I can't wait to see the match, obviously. I thought this was really cool.
I like this segment. I thought Bryan cut a good promo, the other one and this one.
Yep.
Callis is never bad on the mic. I feel like it hasn't been as good lately, but he's never bad. Again, Bryan's just I want to wrestle gimmick. It's perfect. He's been great so far. They have set a potential match of the year candidate. I think they know it.
Yes.
But how can this freaking be contained on a single Dynamite? Like, it's just so insane.
Yep.
I feel like when you maybe it depends on how much time they give it, honestly. If they don't give it a lot of time, I could see them going back to the well eventually.
Probably. Maybe
in a title match where then Omega gets the win back. I could see that happening. The character contrast between them is nice, like you said. And the stadium show's looking pretty stacked. I mean, I really hope they change up the stage.
We're going to need it after some NXT, right? So it'll be a nice palate cleanser.
For sure.
Yeah.
In every sense of the term.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope they change the stage, because I imagine the stadium is much bigger, right? So
should be considerably bigger.
Is Rampage in the stadium then, I guess? If it's
probably the same. Yeah, I think they tape it.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyways.
I don't think so, because I feel like, or maybe...
I thought I heard people talking about if they're going to Dynamite, they're going to see Rampage too. So it leads me to believe it's like Heat used to be.
Do you think they would have taped like the Punk episode then? Because wouldn't that have gone out?
Right. That one they must have done live. I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure it out some point.
I think they taped Dark, but that's at Universal or whatever.
Right.
Which, the AEW zone? The All Elite zone?
Impact Zone.
No.
The Overgivers in the Impact Zone.
The Overgiver. Oh, yeah.
Because they used to change everyone's name when they came.
Imagine that, and he wears all white.
Yeah,
That'd
exactly.
be funny. The Overgiver.
And he's like a saint or a priest.
No, he's like a Jesus, because he's wearing white. Yeah. He's like a god, and he's wearing white. That's why he's the Overgiver.
Sorry, it's the anti-Undertaker appearing in Impact is what we're talking about. Sorry, go ahead. Let's get back to the show. It
would be Kane. It would be Glenn Jacobs as the Overgiver.
Right.
Next we have a Miro promo. He tells Fuego, everyone else he redeemed move on to better things and were smart enough not to stick around. So he asks why Fuego, why he called him out, and he's putting his throat on the blade that already redeemed him.
Yeah.
He also made some analogy I don't remember. He says he'll bash his brain and his car, and Fuego's family will thank him, and this is the word of the Redeemer.
I think the line, because I wrote it because I loved it, he basically was like, you talk about people not putting their hand back on a hot stove after doing it once, but he's putting his throat back on the knife that spared him last time, right? So I thought that was really cool. And again, just a great Miro promo. He's got this character just dialed right in, and I enjoy it every week.
Yeah, just another great promo from Miro. I don't think I need to say anything else. It's just another good promo.
Yeah.
And next we get Matt Hardy promo. He says Cassie broke his nose and nobody does that. Well, Cassidy did.
Right.
He says Cassie owes him a debt and he always collects, especially when he drops money in the ring. He says Cassie has made a mockery of him for too long and he'll take away everything that makes Cassie cool, starting with his hair. I don't know if his hair makes him that cool. Like, his hair's fine, but like, it's not that cool. He's not like Alex Shelley or like Adam Cole. Like,
right.
He says he'll make Cassie the orange egghead.
I thought this was strange because Hardy in this promo, right? He's criticizing Orange Cassidy for being like too much of a character and making a mockery of wrestling. But like, think about Matt Hardy's characters, right? Like,
Broken
even
Matt?
what he's doing right now, this big money Matt is like not a pure wrestling thing.
Like Broken
so
Matt,
I thought that
for
was
example?
a little rich for him to be saying like, you don't take wrestling seriously and you're making a mockery. Like, dude, that's what you do. There's not much in wrestling you have, and I'm not saying I haven't loved stuff Matt has done, because I have.
You love the deletion.
I've made you watch the final deletion, right?
Yes.
So, anyways,
It was against my will.
I don't think his reasoning made a ton of sense, even as like a delusional heel. So I didn't love this, especially following a Miro promo.
Yeah, it was fine. I just don't care.
Fair enough.
So Rampage yesterday.
Yeah.
So Lucha Bros versus Butcher and Blade for the tag titles. Anna Jay versus the Bunny, and Miro versus Fuego del Sol for the TNT title. I only kind of care about one.
For me. Yeah.
But even then, like, I highly doubt Butcher and Blade are becoming tag champions against
I would
the Lucha
doubt
Bros
it as well on Rampage.
Yes. And a Dynamite Grand Slam next week. Omega versus Danielson. CM Punk interview. Okay. Cody versus Black. Sure. And Jeff versus Pillman. That should be.
I think that'll be fun.
That should be good.
Yeah.
Baker versus Ruby Soho. Sure.
Yep. Should be good.
And FTR versus Sting and Allen. No, thank you.
I think that might be okay.
I just don't think FTR will win, so I don't want. And I don't want to watch Sting wrestle.
Fair enough.
And Rampage Grand Slam next Friday, which I will. I'm not sure. Actually, no, we'll definitely watch that. Super Click, which is Cole and the Bucks. What a team that is.
That's awesome.
Versus Christian and Jurassic Express. What a tag team that is. And also Christian's there. CM Punk versus Will Hobbs. Will be touted as his TV debut for AEW, and like his first TV match in however long. And Jericho and Hager versus the Men of the Year. No thanks.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose, and that'll make me
It's
really
a bit
sad.
of a mixed bag there.
Yeah, that'll make me really sad. Next we get to our main event, which is Jonathan Moxley and Edward Kingston versus 2.0.
Not the most star-studded main event, but even though I love 2.0.
It's an odd choice, but they're not stars. Scription was a short and mainly one-side match for an odd main event choice. The notables were 2.0 and Garcia get the jump on Mox and Kingston during their entrance. An X-Plex by Mox to Parker after the match starts. Corner chops, but I meant chops by Mox. Parker gouges Mox's eyes and makes a tag. Garcia distracts and 2.0 beat on Mox on the outside. A combo by 2.0 for 2. And Mox hits a lariat to Lee and is able to make a hot tag to Kingston, who gets a flurry. A spinning back fist to Parker and a DDT to Lee by Kingston. And Mox and Kingston get the win by finishing off Parker with their clothesline half and half suplex combo. After the match, Minoru Suzuki comes out and heads to the ring. Archer comes from behind, pulls Kingston in the ring to take him out, and Mox and Suzuki brawl. Kingston and Archer are brawling in the crowd as Mox and Suzuki brawl around ringside. Mox hits Suzuki with the mic, and the brawl continues as the show goes off the air. Thoughts on this match?
So
in the aftermath.
Yeah, so the cut from NXT and then in the main event of Dynamite not too long after. I'm really happy for 2.0, even though I agree this was sort of maybe misplaced and not the most star-studded main event. But I thought it was fun while it lasted. Seemed like an odd choice, like you said. I figured there had to be something important afterward, and that's why this was positioned the way it was. So the brawl afterward was okay, but nothing special. And again, it didn't seem worthy of a main event. It's not like I didn't enjoy the match. It was pretty fun, but it wasn't much of a match and not much of a main event, I didn't think. So the show didn't end on the strongest note, because the brawl I thought was just kind of standard. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, so I thought this was fine for a TV match, but not really fitting for a main event.
Yeah.
Guess it'd be hard to stick that brawl elsewhere on the show, but I feel like it wouldn't actually be that hard.
Yeah.
It's like Lambert. Oh, I'm surprised, but I'm not actually that surprised. Spears and Allen should have gotten some more time and then definitely been the main event, because that also had an after-match brawl. And, yeah, it did. And that match was better, and also, like, just it should have gotten more time anyways. Overall, fine main event, though, and thought the aftermath was fine.
Yep.
Thoughts on the show?
I really liked the show. and maybe even more after I had to sit through NXT. As we're saying, it may sort of skew the results of this. But anyways, in ring, I think I like basically everything to a certain degree, right? Like Alan Spears, I really liked. The opener and the FTR tag match were both good. I thought the women's match was solid for who was involved. The main event, despite not feeling like a main event, was fun while it lasted. So nothing really bad in ring, just maybe, not what I would put for a main event. Segment wise, I really liked some of the stuff on this show. The Danielson segment I thought was terrific. MJF was great. The sit down with Pillman was really good. Lucha Brothers Butcher Blade package was cool. Miro was awesome as usual. And even I thought the Team Taz stuff was fun this week. On the flip side, I didn't care for Hardy's promo or the Fuego del Sol stuff, and I mean Bunny was just kind of fine. But so I wish the show had a stronger main event, but I still thought it was a strong show and I enjoyed watching it. So I'm gonna give it a very high B plus, close to an A minus, and largely due to like MJF, Danielson, and Darby Allin, I would have to say, because that was the stuff I enjoyed most. But I thought it was a fun show, and in a stark contrast to NXT, obviously, as I think we're gonna say
that was
most weeks.
The literal embodiment of bottom of the barrel.
So what did you think of this show?
Overall, solid show. Immediately gets bumped up a bit because it looks much better in comparison to the crummy NXT.
Right.
The opener was a good enhanced match and a good opener and a good showing for Cole. I like that match.
Me too.
I did. It's pretty close behind Allen and Spears. The Lucha Bros Butcher and Blade promo was fine. A little random, but still fine. Fuego del Sol's promo was fine as well. I loved MJF's promo once again. I thought Pillman was actually pretty good in his as well. I mean, it's never the best being paired up with MJF, but I mean, he was still good.
Look good compared.
Yes. Cage and Jurassic Express, a little segment was fine. I didn't mind the FTR Seidel Martin match. It was pretty short, and Martin looked good again. I like the Suzuki Goon promo, helpful for people who don't follow New Japan.
Yep.
I didn't love the Black segment because it was just so Cody. I like Black's line, but other than that, not
Agreed.
really.
I didn't love it either.
The Bunny and Jay segment was fine, but I don't really care. The Dan Lambert promo was fine, but I didn't like the inclusion of Jericho because I just don't need to see him anymore. The Gun Club promo was pretty good, but I don't really care about them. They're just not that important.
Yeah, I like that too.
Cargill and Hirsch was fine. Andrade's promo was pretty good and his best one yet. Team Taz attack on Punk was just kind of there. It was fine. I didn't like it as much as you. I enjoyed Spears' promo and the subsequent match. I thought that was really good. I thought it should have been the main event. I thought Bryan Danielson's promo was good, and the subsequent segment with Omega was pretty good as well, and gets us an amazing match. I like Miro's promo. Hardy's was fine, but uninteresting. The main event just didn't fit, but it wasn't bad either. I don't like. It was good. Overall, a fine show. I thought a solid B plus, for sure. No major complaints like the other show where I basically had a complaint for every segment.
Yeah, so stark contrast. Definitely enjoyed this show. This is going to be what I'm going to be looking forward to every week to sort of restore my faith in wrestling for a little bit, it feels like.
Yeah,
I hope not, but that's what it feels like.
I don't know if I have much patience for NXT after next week, but
we'll see. We'll give it at least a week. I'm willing to give it 2 weeks, but we'll see. Maybe I'm doing it alone after that. But anyways, so that's going to bring us to the end of talking about AEW Dynamite, another good show. We'll move into talking about other wrestling stuff in the section we always call Any Other Wrestling Business. So I think this week we're just going to talk about quickly some Impact here, right? We're going to take a break from the Rewind match. Just got a little busy this week, and we'll kind of come back to that when a match catches our eye and we have time, etc.
Most likely next week.
Yep. So let's talk about Impact Wrestling. I checked it out yesterday quickly. It is the go-home show before Final Destination, which is tonight, which is Saturday. We're recording this on Saturday morning. So I noticed right away Josh Matthews is back on commentary, but there is... I don't remember anyways, any mention of Stryker not being there or any explanation offered. So I don't know if it's a one-off or something lengthy, but we're back to Josh Matthews. We start out right away with a match this week, and it's Decay facing Violent by Design. So just to catch you up on Violent by Design, it's basically Rhino has been blamed for their sort of struggles lately. So he got locked in a solitary confinement and sort of Eric Young's doing the whole like he's baptized and reborn and he's the best version of himself, so he should just be a dominant killing machine now, right?
Yes.
Wrong. So Decay end up winning a really short match after Crazy...
But Rhino's an unstoppable
Right.
monster.
So this is why I had an issue with this. You'll see quickly. So basically, Rhino's on the apron holding Crazy Steve so that obviously he can get run into by Diener. But Steve escapes. Diener runs into Rhino. Rhino falls to the floor. And then Crazy Steve hits his sort of jumping DDT off the second rope to Diener and picks up the pinfall in less than 4 minutes of this opener. Then after Decay leaves, obviously,
That sounds familiar.
Eric Young starts to sort of berate Rhino in the middle of the ring. It looks like Rhino's starting to talk back a little bit. Eric Young turns to leave. Rhino sort of grabs him by the wrist, so things are kind of escalating here. Diener then blindsides Rhino, and Doring and Diener sort of stomp and put the boots to Rhino on the mat. Eric Young then takes they've started bringing a Violent by Design flag on a short flagpole to the ring, so he snaps that over Rhino's back, drapes the flag over the fallen Rhino. So, I mean, there was nothing wrong with the match. It was 4 minutes. It's hard to analyze anything that short, right? But Taurus looked good. He hardly got in there, but when he does, he just hits a bunch of impressive stuff, right? But talking about Rhino, right? He's supposed to have been this changed man last week from the solitary confinement.
It's like Xylee and Boa.
So I don't think this makes him look bad. I think like him failing in his first time back from this transformation, I think this makes Eric Young look more of a failure than Rhino, right? Because he's the mastermind and he's in control of all this, and he doesn't even get one win out of this, baptizing the member of his group and turning him into this unstoppable monster. So I'm not sure how this is Rhino's fault and not Eric Young, so it kind of bugged me in that sense. And it's just, again, all of this drama with Violent by Design, and some of the promos and the segments look good, but then they just keep losing. So I don't know. I'm starting to lose some of my like for this group. We then hear Christian's team cut his team for the 10-man match that's coming up on this show that they spent the entire previous episode of Impact building, which wasn't my favorite. So the babyface group here gets to cut a promo. Josh Alexander basically says that he knows that no one in this group is afraid to fight. Sabin says that these are exactly the men he would choose to fight alongside, but he does take a minute to let Josh Alexander know that he's going to be watching him and scouting him ahead of their match at Victory Road tonight. Christian wraps it up by saying that Ace Austin basically reminds him of himself when he was younger, but we still don't know if Ace is going to live up to that potential. And then he goes on to say some other stuff that I didn't really make a note of. I actually liked this promo overall. I thought everybody sounded good. What they said made sense. I actually liked Christian. I thought he did a particularly good job here addressing Ace Austin.
That's odd.
And that is true, because I don't always love Christian promos. Sometimes I find he feels incredibly insincere, like he's clearly acting. But this one, I didn't find that. I thought it was pretty good. So then the show cuts to this week's Swingers Palace segment, which always makes me happy, as you guys know. So Swinger is doing his usual 80s wrestler thing. To start, he mentions Jerry Jarrett, Dixie Carter, the Harris twins, sort of confused about who's running Impact, because he's basically trapped in the 80s, so he's referring to people from the 80s that he thinks are running Impact. Alicia Edwards is there because she has to be on every show somehow, so she tells him that Scott D'Amore is actually in charge of Impact.
They're trying to turn you into an Alicia guy, all right? Like, they hear your cries for
D'Amore
help,
Alicia
like,
is what we need.
No, we can convince him.
Yes. The least talented, most overrepresented character probably in most of the wrestling I watch. No offense, Alicia, but I'm not a huge fan. TJP shows up there, and he is sort of counting the money that he won. So last week he bet on Macklin to beat Petey Williams, and then he brought his group down to cause a distraction to ensure that Petey Williams did in fact lose. So TJP is here counting the money he won off of that bet. And of course, Petey Williams shows up. He's none too happy about this, that TJP distracted him. It was the conga line, like No Way's conga line basically was the distraction. So he's upset with TJP, and basically it ends up setting up a TJP versus Petey Williams match for this show. I actually thought the interaction between Petey Williams and TJP was pretty good. TJP came across as this really annoying, like what we've started calling like a douchebag heel, and I actually thought he was quite good. And I'm not a fan of any character TJP's done, right? Pretty much he bores me anywhere other than in the ring, but I kind of like this. It's just too bad it had to happen in like the backdrop of Swingers Palace, which never does much for me, right? So we do move right into that match, TJP versus Petey Williams. So Petey, the one thing I did make note of, I already told you this. So Petey puts TJP in a sharpshooter, and Josh Matthews basically says that part of graduating high school in Canada requires you to learn this hold, which made me laugh. So anyways, Petey Williams kind of picks up a rare victory here when TJP went for a Mahi straw cradle, but Petey kind of countered it, shifted his weight, and ended up pinning TJP in what turned out to be a 6-minute match. Then Steve Macklin runs down, throws TJP aside for a minute, hangs Petey Williams upside down in the Tree of Woe in the corner, hits his running spear to the upside down opponent, and it looks fantastic. He gets so fast, and it looks really aggressive. And then he turns his attention back to TJP, hits his finisher. I think it's something Mayhem. I forget what it's called now, but Mayhem's in the name of it anyways.
Mr. Mayhem?
It might be like the snowplow, I think, if I'm remembering correctly from back in the day. But anyways, so he leaves both of these guys lying. And I thought this was a good mid-card Impact TV match. I mean, it only got 6 minutes, but good back-and-forth action, a really fast pace throughout it. Petey Williams is still a really useful talent for Impact, so it's nice to see him get the odd win because obviously he's not positioned to get a ton of wins at this point. He's kind of there to make other people look good. So him getting a nice win here was a bit of a surprise and good for him. And this is official. I'm officially saying this. Macklin is really cool. I think he's been presented. I've been kind of waiting to give my official opinion. I've liked what he's done, but it's been a lot of squash matches and stuff. I think he looks super aggressive. He has some really cool high impact offense, and his intensity is really good. I think he's a great pickup and a really good talent for Impact, and I think he should sort of move up the card here because, again, this is a guy that they can tout as someone they're sort of building because he never really got much of a chance.
He was like, I remember him as when I started watching NXT, one of the jobbers. I'd be like,
right.
And you're like, he loses or whatever, and then he was in the Forgotten Sons.
Yes.
Which
was forgettable, ironically.
The only the only memorable thing was they were in that ladder match, the 4-way.
Right.
And they didn't even win that.
So he looks really good. I'm becoming quite a fan of him here. I'll have to see maybe another sort of lengthy, more competitive match, but he looks good. So Gia Miller then interviews the Good Brothers backstage, starts out talking about Anderson winning the bunkhouse brawl last week against Rich Swann, implies that he only won thanks to help from Luke Gallows. So Anderson kind of shuts her down and warns her about getting too big for her britches. Then he does give credit to Doc Gallows for always having his back, including in that match. Gallows says that Swann was supposed to have Willie Mack in his corner, but Mack was still in the hospital, obviously, because Good Brothers took him out. And he says that Swann and Mack are now in their rearview mirror and they won't have to deal with them anymore. So guess what's going to happen? Anyways,
they're going to drink beer.
They turn to leave, and as they push the door open behind them to leave, Willie Mack, yeah, of course. Willie Mack is there on crutches. So then he quickly hands one of the crutches to Rich Swann, keeps one for himself to reveal that he has healed from his injury, and they chase away the Good Brothers. And that sort of ends that as we head to commercial. Then after the commercial, Gia is now taking her turn to talk to Willie Mack and Rich Swann about Mack and his recovery from the injury. So they talk about wanting a shot at the Good Brothers for the championships, and Scott D'Amore shows up and agrees, so the match is made official for Victory Road.
Yeah, I think I saw on because I was post the card updates on Instagram.
Yeah. Actually, while I'm talking about this, if you have a second, do you want to pull up the Victory Road card and we can talk about that at the end of this?
Yeah, sure.
So, because I was going to do that and then I forgot. So the Good Brothers, I thought were fine. They were doing their less annoying promo here, so a little more serious and a little less trying to amuse themselves. But I don't think Mack or Swann were good here. Mack is just so laid back, and Swann is trying to counter that by being really hyped up. And I don't think either one of them do a very good job. Mack's never been great.
I found him from 2 hours ago.
On the mic. So I also don't really care about this match. You know, I'm not a huge Good Brothers fan. And even though there's been a bit of a build to this and some backstory, I'm just not really interested in it for some reason. So we then get John Schuyler. He makes his entrance. I don't know if you remember him, but he had
Didn't he beat Cardona
That
or
is
something?
correct. So he's got a microphone this time. He calls out Laredo Kid because I think Laredo Kid, he says Laredo Kid was lucky for beating him on Before the Impact. I think it was last week. And he said when he beats Laredo Kid tonight, it's not going to be by luck. He's going to beat Laredo Kid like he beat Matt Cardona all by himself. He feels the need to stress that for some reason. So I actually didn't mind this at all. I don't think it was an amazing promo, but he's a lot better than a lot of people already. and I feel like he might fit in well at Impact, so I'm interested to see more of him here. We move into that match, which is John Skyler versus the Laredo Kid. It's nice to see Laredo Kid. I kind of think he's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, he had some good stuff in AEW. He appeared like a few times.
He did. We quite liked him, right?
It was mostly with the Lucha Bros. I
Right.
remember
Yes.
early AEW he was randomly on. He randomly teamed with them on Firefest,
Right.
and I think he did even I think it was this year actually, or this year or last year. But he's been there a couple times, so we've liked what we've seen from him.
Yeah, for sure. So Skyler ends up winning this match as well.
I saw.
He basically super heel style tries to rip off Laredo Kid's mask, and then when Laredo Kid's trying to adjust his match again, Skyler rolls him up, and I think he even pulled the tights to pick up the win here. So honestly, Laredo Kid controlled most of this match, but one of the things that looked amazing was Skyler hit like basically a snap belly to belly overhead on the floor that looked really violent and good. So I thought he looked good in the limited time he got on offense, because it was a lot of Laredo Kid showcasing stuff. He was impressive. And man, this crowd that makes Impact much more fun to watch, they hate John Skyler in the right way. Like, he's getting massive heat as he's supposed to. So I kind of have some high hopes for him. And I like this match. It was really short again. We're back to kind of really quick matches on Impact, but I thought it was fun. We then go to All About Me with Tenille, Caleb, and now Madison Rayne as the guests. So again, because she is so arrogant, Tenille, her show is kind of backwards. She's on the show every week, but she calls herself the guest, and the guests actually are there to interview her because it should be all about her. So she reverses what their names are. It gets confusing. But anyways, so Tenille reluctantly introduces Taylor Wilde as the host. Again, actually the guest, but called the host. And then Jordan Grace.
Host.
Yes, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering show up to sort of support Taylor Wilde. So they kind of sit on the arms of the couches and the chairs because there are no other places to sit. And the heels are kind of looking nervous now because they're always counting on the numbers game, right? And numbers are even. So they're sort of looking tense about what could happen here. So Dashwood quickly tries to end the segment now, but Wilde says, you know, she's here to ask Tenille some questions. So she does. The questions basically are about Tenille never wanting to fight her alone and always having to have backup and extra numbers and stuff. So it leads to her challenging Tenille to a one-on-one match at Victory Road.
I'm sure you're excited.
Tenille quickly tries to act like she has something to do on that day, right? Because she's the chicken heel that doesn't want to face anyone. So anyways, I might be the only one. I don't know. I don't hear anyone else talk about Impact, to be honest, but I still find these All About Me segments pretty amusing for some reason. Taylor Wilde was way better than usual. I don't think she was amazing, but normally her promos just, my eyes glaze over and I don't even listen to her. She had a couple insults at Madison Rayne that made me laugh, because this sounds a bit mean, but I've always thought this about Madison Rayne. She has a tiny, tiny frame and really narrow shoulders and kind of a big head. I'm not trying to be rude, but so one of Taylor Wilde's insults, because she was wearing Madison Rayne was wearing like a tight pink dress, I guess, told her that you look like a flamingo bobblehead, which was kind of funny. And then literally on her walkout, she just turned to her and said, "Your head's too big for your body," and then left. So it kind of made me laugh. And I thought Tenille's acting was really good. She's acting like the person who wants nothing to do with this match. So I think she's been doing a lot better job as that chicken heel in Impact. So I kind of like this segment. We then get footage from earlier today showing Matt Cardona attacking Rohit Raju and Mahabali Shera in the hallway. Because if you forget, in one of the mixed matches, Rohit actually hit a knee strike and knocked out Chelsea Green, and she hasn't been back since, so Cardona is, of course, sticking up for her. So Gia Miller then asks Scott D'Amore if he has any thoughts on this Rohit-Matt Cardona feud. D'Amore talks about being worried about Chelsea Green because she's now injured at home from that knee strike from Raju. Matt Cardona interrupts, and D'Amore sort of lectures him about attacking Rohit Raju out of nowhere. Just trying to keep his Impact Wrestling safe, I guess. Cardona sort of begs for a one-on-one match with Raju, saying that he just needs this one match and he'll be done with the whole issue. So D'Amore ends up agreeing to the match as long as Cardona doesn't put his hands on Raju until Saturday. So that is, it's really only 2 days, so that shouldn't be a hard chore for Cardona.
And only one show, I guess.
Right, and this show is the only show that's televised. So
right.
D'Amore adds that it can be a no DQ match too. Then he walks off while saying he's sick and tired of all this madness, kind of under his breath. I thought this was fine, nothing special. It does set up a match that kind of intrigues me a bit, just because I love Rohit. I'll support anything he does, and it is quite possible that he and Cardona could have a good match. So
Yeah.
I obviously I would want Rohit to go over, and I highly doubt that that's what's going to happen, but I hope the match is good. We then get the Drama King Matthew Raywalt. Did I get it right finally? I think so. I also hate typing it out because it's not fun to spell.
I don't even remember how to spell it.
Rehwoldt.
Yeah, that's
Raywalt.
just awful.
So he's facing Trey Miguel because they've had some issues lately. The finish to this came when Raywalt missed a swanton. Trey hit a leg trap suplex and then locked in his hourglass submission for the win. Deonna Purrazzo shows up afterwards, hits a low blow to Trey as he's climbing the ropes to celebrate. So then Mickie James runs down to make the save of Trey Miguel, and she hits Deonna with a Thez press and some punches. Referees run out to separate both women. Mickie breaks away one more time, hits Deonna with a Thez press. Then we got Raywalt sort of pulling Deonna aside, but Mickie escapes again and hits Matt and Deonna with a dive from the top. Raywalt then drags Deonna to the back while Mickie stands tall in the ring with her song playing the hardcore country.
Is there a reason why she has hardcore country? Like, what does she have to do with hardcore?
It was just because she was like a country sort of gimmick, like a Western gimmick, and that was her thing. I thought actually the match was really good. Early on, it was Raywalt being one step ahead of Trey. Even commentary were commenting on it, and I thought he looked good a couple times, at least twice. He caught Trey out of the air and then hit some pretty cool, impactful moves. One, they described, no pun intended, they described as a fireman's carry, basically into a power bomb. Looked pretty good. And then Trey, of course, after being dominated for a lot of the match, gets his really cool flurry in at the end and then picks up the win. So I thought this was a good match. I was kind of impressed with Raywalt, to be honest. In the post-match attack, which I don't always love because it happens a lot on some other programs, I thought there was a point to it here and it was good. I really liked Purrazzo taking out Trey. Just that visual was cool to me. And then Mickie James and Purrazzo kind of had a believable pull-apart brawl there. And I think they're doing a good job of building the Mickie James Purrazzo match because, as I've been saying a lot, I don't know who they can position to take the title off Purrazzo. She's just so dominant, and I don't see anybody else sort of in the singles division waiting in the wings. So they've brought in Mickie James, and they're doing a decent job of building for this match. I hope the match is good. We then get a Tasha Steelz promo. She and Savannah Evans, she says they didn't steal the titles. They did. But her logic is they didn't steal them from Decay because they had the title stolen from them at Slammiversary. They were just taking back what was rightfully theirs, even though Evans was never involved at that point. But that's just a detail, right?
That's heel logic.
It was Kiera Hogan at that point. But anyways, she says if the champs want their belts back, they'll have to come and get them at Victory Road. So I actually thought...
Wait, are they the actual champs or are they just
No, they just stole...
Steal?
They're doing the WWE, we stole your property, now you have to agree to a match to get it back.
Right.
Which bugs me, right? Like, why wouldn't Scott D'Amore step in and be like, nope, you can't just steal belts or steal stuff and then call your own matches.
Right.
So that kind of bugs me. But I thought Tasha Steelz was good. She's significantly toned down her antics from her time with Kiera Hogan, and she's going more serious here. And I think it's working well. I just hope her in-ring keeps improving because I've had some issues at times with that. Evans really does look imposing as just standing behind her as the muscle. So I think this pairing has potential, even though this division, this women's tag division, is not super strong. So I imagine they'll get a good shot at the title and probably get it at some point. But again, I can't stand the Steel property and somehow get to make a match for it. But the promo itself, I enjoyed. So Chris Bay and Hikuleo are backstage. So it's a promo. Exclusively Bay. Hikuleo's just standing there sort of as his enforcer, talking about the match against Finn Juice at Victory Road. He sort of mocks Juice Robinson for being injured, talks about basically digging Finn Juice's graves and sort of ending them with one shot. He does say a lot more than this, but that was the notable stuff. His personality and his charisma were evident here. The actual promo, I thought, could have been tightened up a bit. Like, I wouldn't say he was rambling, but it wasn't super efficient, and there were parts that weren't quite as clean as I would like from Chris Bay, but you can definitely see that this guy is cool. He's got charisma. I liked his delivery. So, overall, I liked this. It wasn't the perfect promo, but I thought it was good. We then get the main event. So, it's Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, Brian Myers, who comes out with his little crew of Zicky Dice, Manny Lemons, and Sam Beal, so they're just there, not in the match. W. Morrissey and Moose, that's your heel group, taking on the mega babyface group of Christian, Josh Alexander,
the mega powers,
right? Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan, and Chris Sabin. So the babyfaces do end up winning this match after a blind tag to Alexander and from Cage. Cage hits a spear, Alexander hits his C4 spike, which always looks awesome, and they pick up the win. So this match, it started as a regular tag team match, and then it sort of broke down into a brawl on the floor for a while. Then there was a large middle portion of this where nothing really of note happened. And then it picked up near the end. You kind of get that, what I call a signature parade, right? Where someone hits a move, that guy rolls out.
Fest.
Someone comes in and hits a move to him. So I thought that part was fun. And then I liked the finishing combination from Cage and Alexander as well. And I guess at the end of the day, it bugged me because they announced this match out of nowhere last week and spent like the entire show going back to talking about it. So I was annoyed. But the end of the day, I guess it's a solid way. They're basically previewing a whole bunch of matches on Victory Road in this one match on the Go Home show.
Right.
So I get that booking. There were some good stretches in this match, but I thought there was also some stretches that weren't that interesting. So I don't think it was a great main event considering the amount of time they spent last week building up this sudden match, but there were parts of it that were enjoyable. As for the entire show, I would have to say I was mostly happy with it. The Violent by Design Decay opener I thought was just to further the story afterwards about Rhino being sort of beaten down and exiled from the group despite just being fixed last week by Eric Young's method. So I don't know, I was a bit confused by that. I thought TJP Petey Williams was good. I liked the Skylar Laredo match for what it was. Drama King Trey surprised me, was quite good.
Whoa, Ray Wall, okay.
Sorry, yeah, right. And the main event was star-studded, right? Like lots of their top talent in there, but it was only partly entertaining for me. Segments, All About Me was fun. I liked that. The Babyface group promo was good ahead of the main event. Bay, I thought, was good. Tasha Steelz was good. The Perazzo James pull-apart brawl worked for me. Swingers Palace was mostly lame, but I actually thought, again, the TJP Petey Williams interaction was good. Good Brothers Mac stuff was just okay. So, to be honest, I'm going to give this show a B. It was kind of close to a B+, but a B just because the main event, despite looking good on paper, there was
it's funny, this was leagues ahead of NXT.
It was. There was a chunk in the middle that I wasn't thrilled about the main event, but everything else I thought was solid. So sort of rebounded from last week. I didn't love last week's show. Really liked 2 weeks ago. So back with a solid effort here. Nothing I would say you have to rush out and see, but it was not a chore to watch. So I was pretty happy with it.
Right. And you did want to run down the
Yes,
pay-per-view
if you've got it there, please.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go in like order that they're listed on the site. So we have Ace Austin versus Cage for the world title.
Yeah, that could be a good match. I can't imagine Austin's winning, but I wish he would.
I would. If we were doing picks, I would take Austin just because I don't like Christian.
And he is talking a lot about being the youngest champion ever, right? So I'm hoping
that feels like something that then they would like
maybe follow through on.
And then Alexander could option C on him.
Amazing. Yeah, that'd be fine with that.
Speaking of Alexander, he'll be defending the X Division title against Christopher Sabin.
And that match could be awesome.
Yeah.
Because say what you will about Sabin character-wise and mic-wise, he's pretty fun in the ring still.
Yep. Knockouts tag titles, Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans versus Decay.
I'll watch it. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it or expectations for it, but right. I wouldn't mind if the heels end up getting that, because it seems like it's just on Decay because it has to be on somebody at this point, right? So I'm hoping that there's a title change there.
Right. Tag titles, Swan and Mac versus Good Brothers.
I have no interest in this.
Yeah.
But I imagine the Good Brothers retain because Good Brothers.
Yes. No DQ match, Cardona and Rohit.
Yep. Again, I imagine Cardona wins and defends his wife, girlfriend, whatever, Chelsea Green in this one. So too bad for Rohit.
This is weird. The website says Moose and W. Morrissey versus Eddie Edwards and Moose.
And Sami Callihan.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that one. There's kind of this weird dynamic between Callihan and Edwards that I kind of like. Like they've tortured each other and beaten each other and almost killed each other. And now because these two monsters are sort of targeting them, they're somewhat reluctantly joined together, but they're showing...
I really hope Morrissey wins.
They're slowly building some trust. I do too, and then I would have them get the tag team belts quickly and
like Cass.
And just kill people for a long time.
I
don't think he's great in the ring, but I think he and Moose as a tag team should just like run roughshod for quite a while in the division. But anyways,
I think he's fine for a
he's
big
fine.
Man.
Yeah.
I like him. Large Cass.
Large
as
Cassidy.
He will always be known. Another tag match: Hikuleo and Chris Bay versus Finn Juice.
Meh. I mean, okay. I haven't been impressed with Hikuleo from what I've seen, so the other three can go, so it might be good. I don't know who's gonna win. Probably
Dashwood versus Taylor Wilde.
don't care, but I'll watch it, I guess.
Triple threat: TJP, Macklin, PD Williams.
Oh, nice. I don't even think I knew that match. They must have made it after the show. That should be fun. And I assume I want Macklin to win, or at least Macklin can't be involved in the pinfall. But considering how everybody's been presented lately, I imagine Macklin wins that. That one could be fun.
Nice. That's it.
All right, cool. On paper, the card it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? There's some things I'm looking forward to and other things that I will sort of pay less attention to. But I'll try and check it out. I don't know if I'll review it or not. I may come down. If you watch it with me, on the hope that Buddy Murphy shows up, maybe we can talk about it quickly, but we'll see how much time we get tomorrow and how quickly we get through it.
Right.
All right, so I think that's wrapping it up for any other wrestling business, right? And move us into our final segment, which is Jack updating us on the world of wrestling action figures and whatnot, and that is Figuring It Out with Jack.
And we only got one thing, which is randomly on ringside. I noticed they revealed a retro style figure, like the Hasbro style figures.
Right. The LGN, or no,
No, after that, like the small ones.
Right.
Like
Oh, the short, stocky ones.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they revealed a new one of those, and oddly enough, it's not a WWE one. It's I don't know who's making it, I forget, but it's a Jay White retro.
Oh, nice. That's interesting.
Remember I told you?
Yeah, I think you showed me a picture of it
yeah,
too.
so there's a red tights version with the white kind of like hash marks logos, like the tallies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the black one with the red and white logos on them.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of random, but that's cool.
And is that the only thing this week?
Yeah.
Because there was a ton. Was it last week?
Yes.
So we're a bit of a lull this week, but at least you had something, right?
At least we had something.
So I guess that's going to bring us to the end of episode 61. We really appreciate anyone taking some time out of their week to listen to us talk about wrestling. I'll for sure be back on Monday to talk about ROH 522. We may even try to put out an Impact Wrestling Victory Road quick review. It wouldn't be anything super in-depth, just kind of results in our thoughts if we get the time tomorrow possibly. So keep an eye out for that. Again, if you'd like to, we appreciate any likes, subscribes, follows, whatever, on whatever platform it is. If you'd like to contact us, we'd love to hear from you. And we'll definitely see you back here next Saturday for episode 62. And until then, take care.